Welcome to Sleep Easy, where we guide you on a journey of calm and peace to help you drift into a restful sleep. I am the host of Sleep Easy, and I appreciate you choosing to spend this time with us. Tonight, we have a bedtime story for you titled Whispers of the Midnight Garden. Before we dive into the story, let's take a few moments to release any lingering tension in our bodies and minds. Find a comfortable position, and with each breath, allow yourself to relax more deeply. Now, let's merge the gentle rhythm of your breathing with the enchanting tale of Whispers of the Midnight Garden. Let yourself be transported to a world of fairy tales and magic, where worries dissolve and dreams take flight. The train slowed to a gentle halt as it pulled into Misty Brook Station, its wheels sighing on the tracks. Alex leaned against the window, watching the dense fog drift through the trees outside, their trunks lined with moss and the leaves shining with dew. It felt like stepping into a painting, every detail softened, every sound muted. It was far removed from the constant hum and buzz of the city he had left behind, and for the first time in ages, he let out a sigh that felt like release. Alex stepped off the train, his shoes clicking on the wooden platform, and looked around. The station was small, a single building with a faded sign and a single bench, and not another soul in sight. It was mid-autumn, and a chill lingered in the air, mingling with the scent of damp earth and fallen leaves. He could almost hear the silence, like an invitation to leave his worries behind and melt into the solitude of this sleepy town. He pulled his suitcase along the gravel path and followed the directions he'd scrawled down hastily before leaving. According to the innkeeper he had called, it was only a short walk to the Winding Ivy, a quaint inn known for its cozy rooms and home-cooked breakfasts. The fog thickened around him, blurring the edges of buildings and trees, as if he were walking through a dream. When he reached the inn, he was greeted by the warmth of dim lights glowing from the windows. The inn's exterior was covered in ivy, its vines winding up the walls like green lace. Inside, the air was filled with the comforting scent of wood and faint traces of lavender. "Welcome to the Winding Ivy." The voice came from a woman standing behind the front desk, her warm smile instantly easing the rest of his travel fatigue. She looked like she belonged in a storybook, salt and pepper hair pulled into a loose bun, a cozy knitted sweater, and a gentle, knowing look in her eyes. "You must be Alex." "I'm Nora, the innkeeper." Alex offered a tired smile. "Thank you. I needed a change of scenery." Nora's expression softened with understanding. "Misty Brook has a way of calming the soul," she said, her voice almost a whisper. "People come here to rest, to find something they've lost, or didn't even know they were looking for." Alex glanced around, taking in the rustic charm of the inn, wooden beams, plush armchairs by a small fireplace, and shelves filled with worn books. It was a world away from the stark modernity of his apartment back in the city. After checking in, Nora led him up a narrow staircase to his room. It was simple but welcoming, with a comfortable bed, a small writing desk by the window, and a vase of dried lavender on the nightstand. As she left, Nora paused in the doorway. "Alex," she said, her gaze drifting toward the garden beyond the window. If you're in the mood for a late-night walk, the garden is especially beautiful after midnight. He nodded, not quite understanding the weight in her words, but feeling an odd twinge of curiosity. After she left, he unpacked his few belongings and lay on the bed, staring up at the wooden beams above him. Later that evening, as he sat by the window, he felt his mind slowly unwind, lulled by the gentle sounds of nature outside. The garden Nora had mentioned lay shrouded in mist, its paths winding like soft tendrils beneath the moonlight. Though it was barely visible, he could sense a quiet allure about it, as though it were hiding secrets meant only for those who ventured out in the deep, silent hours of the night. For the first time in a long time, Alex felt no urge to check his phone or think about the tasks that awaited him back home. Here, surrounded by mist and stillness, he felt something unfamiliar, a whisper of mystery, an invitation to explore. As midnight approached, he glanced out again at the garden, now bathed in silver light, and felt a subtle pull. Though he couldn't quite say why, he knew he would take that midnight walk, step into the soft shadows, and perhaps find what he hadn't realized he was looking for. The clock struck midnight with a soft chime, barely loud enough to cut through the stillness of the room. Alex stood by the window, watching the mist swirl lazily around the garden, glowing faintly under the moonlight. It was beautiful, almost otherworldly, and though he couldn't say why, he felt an irresistible urge to step outside and wander through its shadows. Throwing on a light jacket, he quietly made his way downstairs, careful not to disturb the silence that seemed to have settled over the winding ivy. The door creaked slightly as he stepped outside, but the cool air brushed his face, grounding him in the present and igniting a deep, quiet thrill. The garden sprawled out before him, a patchwork of winding paths, ancient oaks, and flower beds edged with ivy. Each stone path seemed to lead somewhere hidden, each turn a whisper of something waiting just beyond. The garden was larger than he'd realized, stretching much farther than it had appeared from his window, almost as if it had expanded to welcome him. As he stepped onto one of the narrow paths, he felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity, as if he'd been here before in some half-forgotten dream. The only sounds were the gentle rustling of leaves and the soft crunch of gravel under his shoes, grounding him as he ventured deeper. Then he noticed something unusual, a dim light flickering in the distance. It was not the warm glow of a lantern or the cold beam of a flashlight, but a soft, pulsing light that shifted between blue and silver. Intrigued, Alex followed the path towards it, his steps quickening with a mix of curiosity and hesitation. As he approached the source of the light, he found himself standing before an ancient oak tree, its branches sprawling out like protective arms over a small clearing. At the base of the tree sat a stone bench, worn smooth by time. On the ground next to it lay a lantern, old-fashioned and delicate, its glass sides etched with swirling patterns. The lantern was the source of the strange light. Though it was unlit, a faint glow seemed to pulse from within, like a heartbeat. Alex reached out, tracing his fingers over its intricate designs. The metal felt cool, grounding him, yet he sensed something deeply alive within it, as if the lantern itself were a vessel of stories and secrets waiting to be uncovered. "You can feel it too, can't you?" Alex turned quickly, his breath catching as he saw a figure standing just a few paces away, a woman, her figure slender and wrapped in a dark cloak that blended seamlessly with the night. Her face was partially hidden in shadow, but he could see her eyes, calm and knowing, watching him with a mixture of curiosity and understanding. It was Evelyn. She looked as if she had stepped out of a memory, timeless and serene, her presence both strange and somehow comforting. "Yes," Alex replied, surprised by the certainty in his own voice. What is it?" Evelyn tilted her head, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "This garden has seen many souls come and go, each drawn here by something different. Some seek peace, others answers, and a few simply wander without knowing what they are searching for." She gestured towards the lantern. "This light belongs to those who have come before. Their memories, their hopes, their forgotten dreams, all left here, preserved in the quiet of the night." Alex stared at the lantern, a shiver running through him. He could feel the weight of those memories, as if the very air was thick with stories and whispers. "Why did you bring me here?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Evelyn took a step closer, her gaze intense but gentle. "Perhaps you needed to be reminded of something," she said softly. "Or perhaps there is something here waiting for you, something you've lost." He looked away, his mind racing with questions. He hadn't told her anything about himself, yet her words struck a chord within him, resonating with feelings he had buried long ago. The life he had left behind in the city felt distant, as if it were a part of someone else's story, and he felt a stirring inside, a vague, restless longing he couldn't quite place. Evelyn extended her hand towards him. "Walk with me." Without hesitation, he reached out and took her hand. Her fingers were cool but solid, grounding him in the moment as she led him further down the path. The mist thickened around them, blurring the edges of the garden until it felt like they were the only two people in the world. They walked in silence, the only sound the soft crunch of gravel beneath their feet. Finally, they reached a secluded part of the garden, where a small pond lay shrouded in mist, its surface like polished glass reflecting the moonlight. The sight was breathtaking, as if he had stepped into a hidden realm untouched by time. Evelyn released his hand and moved towards the edge of the pond. "Look closely," she murmured, her voice blending with the whisper of the wind. "Sometimes, the water shows us more than we expect." Alex knelt down by the water, peering into its dark depths. At first, he saw only his own reflection, hazy and distorted. But as he looked closer, the image began to shift, and he saw something that made his heart skip, a faint glimpse of a memory he thought he had long forgotten, a younger version of himself, sitting on a beach at sunrise, staring out at the waves with a look of quiet wonder. He blinked, and the image faded, leaving only the gentle ripples of the pond. He looked up at Evelyn, his heart pounding. How did you do that?" Evelyn's gaze softened. This garden holds memories, Alex. The memories of all who have walked here. It lets us see ourselves more clearly if we're willing to look. He felt a surge of emotions, grief, nostalgia, and an unexpected sense of peace. He hadn't realized how much he had missed that version of himself, the one who had once been full of wonder and hope. Somehow, the garden had shown him what he needed to see, gently reminding him of the parts of himself he had lost along the way. As they walked back towards the inn, Evelyn paused, glancing at him with a quiet intensity. This is only the beginning, Alex. There is much more to discover about the garden and about yourself. Before he could respond, she turned and vanished into the mist, leaving him standing alone under the moonlight. Alex watched the spot where she had disappeared, feeling both bewildered and inexplicably calm. As he made his way back to his room, he felt a quiet resolve building within him. He didn't know what he would find in the midnight garden, but he was certain of one thing: he would return tomorrow night, ready to delve deeper into its secrets. Morning light filtered softly through the curtains of Alex's room, and for a moment, he forgot where he was. The memories of last night lingered like a dream, the image of the lantern's glow and the mist-shrouded garden feeling distant and surreal. Yet the memory of Evelyn, her enigmatic presence, and the glimpse of his past in the pond remained vivid. There was something unsettlingly familiar about her, a feeling that tugged at the edges of his mind, like a forgotten name on the tip of his tongue. After dressing and heading downstairs, Alex found Nora in the small dining room, setting out a breakfast spread of fresh bread, fruit, and eggs. She looked up as he entered, a warm smile lighting her face. "Good morning, Alex. I trust you slept well?" "Yes, thank you," he replied, though he knew his sleep had been shallow, filled with strange, half-formed dreams. "The garden is quite something at night." Nora's expression softened, and she gave a knowing nod. "Yes, it is. Most guests don't discover its true beauty until they venture out under the moonlight." She paused, glancing at him with a quiet curiosity. "Did you happen to meet anyone out there?" Alex hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. "Yes, actually. I met a woman named Evelyn. She showed me around the garden. Do you know her?" Nora's face grew thoughtful, and for a moment, a shadow seemed to pass over her expression. "Evelyn," she murmured, almost to herself. "A name that hasn't been spoken here in quite some time." "What do you mean?" Alex asked, leaning forward, sensing that there was more to the story. Nora looked at him, her gaze searching. "Evelyn was once a resident of Misty Brook. She was unusual, even for this place. People say she had a connection to the garden, that she understood it in ways no one else did. She would often wander its paths at night, guiding lost souls, helping them find answers they didn't know they were looking for." Alex's pulse quickened. "So she's lived here a long time?" Nora hesitated, her eyes clouding over. Not exactly. Evelyn disappeared many years ago. Some say she left to travel the world, others believe she passed on but chose to stay connected to the garden. No one's quite sure. But there are those who claim to have met her here, usually when they're in need of something the garden alone can provide. Alex felt a shiver run down his spine. So, you're saying she's a spirit? Nora's mouth quirked into a mysterious smile. Call her what you like. Evelyn is part of the garden's secret. It's as if she's become one with this place, bound to it in ways we might never fully understand. Misty Brook has always been a town of mysteries, Alex, and the Midnight Garden holds most of them. Alex let the words sink in, his mind swirling with questions. Evelyn had felt so real, so grounded, and yet Nora's words hinted at something beyond his understanding. What does she want from me? He asked, almost to himself. Nora gave him a gentle look. Perhaps it's not about what she wants from you, but rather what you need from her. The rest of the day passed in a haze, with Alex exploring Misty Brook, though his thoughts remained fixed on the garden. The town itself had a sleepy charm, cobbled streets, small shops, and a market square where locals gathered to chat and browse stands selling produce and crafts. Yet everywhere he went, he found himself watching for glimpses of Evelyn, half expecting to see her familiar figure in the crowd. As evening fell, Alex returned to the winding ivy, feeling the now familiar pull toward the Midnight Garden. Once again, he waited until midnight, the quiet hour when the garden seemed to awaken, and then he ventured out into the mist. The garden greeted him with its usual stillness, though tonight he felt an almost electric energy in the air. The lantern lay exactly where he had left it, casting its gentle glow, as if waiting for him to return. He moved past it, following the path that Evelyn had led him on the night before, hoping to find her again. After a few minutes, he saw her, a shadowy figure standing beneath the same ancient oak tree. Her dark cloak blended into the night, but her face was visible, lit by the soft glow of moonlight. She looked up as he approached, her expression calm, as if she had expected him. Evelyn, he said, the name feeling both strange and familiar on his tongue. She nodded, offering him a small smile. You returned. I had to, Alex replied, his voice barely a whisper. There's something about this place, and about you. I don't understand it, but I feel like I need to know. Evelyn looked at him, her gaze unwavering. You've been carrying something with you, Alex. A weight that has followed you for years. This garden, it reveals things, sometimes memories, sometimes emotions we've tried to forget. It has the power to heal, but only if you're willing to confront what's hidden inside. He felt a pang in his chest, a flicker of something he had buried long ago. I don't know what you mean. Evelyn stepped closer, her voice soft and steady. Do you remember a time when you felt truly free? A time when you looked at the world with wonder, with a heart unburdened by the demands of others? The image of the beach at sunrise flashed in his mind, a younger version of himself, staring out at the endless waves. He had almost forgotten that moment, that feeling of infinite possibility. Yes, he admitted, his voice hoarse. But that was a long time ago. Life got in the way. Evelyn's eyes softened, filled with a quiet understanding. The garden can help you remember, Alex. It can help you see who you once were, and who you could be. But only if you're willing to look. He felt his defenses slip, as if the garden's quiet magic was dissolving the walls he had built over the years. I don't know if I'm ready, he whispered, feeling a strange mix of vulnerability and hope. Evelyn reached out, her hand hovering just above his. The garden works slowly, Alex. It will reveal its secrets one by one, at a pace you can handle. But you have to trust it, and you have to trust yourself. He looked down at her hand, feeling its quiet strength. He didn't know if he believed in spirits or magic gardens, but he believed in the way she made him feel, seen, understood, and somehow safe. "All right," he said, his voice steady. "I'll trust it. And I'll trust you." Evelyn gave him a nod, her smile soft but resolute. "Then let's take another step together. There's still much more for you to see." They began to walk deeper into the garden, the mist parting to reveal hidden paths and forgotten corners. With each step, Alex felt himself slipping further from the life he had known and closer to something he had only dreamed of, a world where memories came alive, where the past could be reconciled, and where he might just find himself again. And as they walked side by side, he felt, for the first time, a glimmer of peace. The garden stretched out before them, quiet and serene under the gentle glow of the moon. Alex felt as though he were stepping into another world, one where time seemed to stand still and where reality and memory blurred into something ineffable. Evelyn moved beside him, her steps soundless, her presence both reassuring and mysterious. As they walked, the mist drifted like a silken veil around them, parting now and then to reveal hidden details, a stone fountain covered in ivy, an archway made of twisting branches, a bench carved with intricate designs worn smooth by time. Everything felt alive, as if the garden itself were watching them, listening to their steps, waiting for Alex to understand its secrets. They arrived at a small clearing encircled by tall, ancient trees whose branches seemed to weave together overhead, creating a natural cathedral open to the sky. Here, the moonlight poured down in a silver cascade, illuminating the clearing with a soft, ethereal glow. Alex felt his breath catch as he looked up, feeling a sense of reverence, as if he were standing in a sacred place. Evelyn paused in the center of the clearing, gazing up at the moon. "There's a peace here that doesn't exist anywhere else," she murmured, almost to herself. Under this moon, the past and the present merge. It's a place where the heart can rest, if only for a moment. Alex watched her, captivated by the faraway look in her eyes, as though she herself were caught between two worlds. He stepped closer, his voice barely a whisper. Evelyn, who are you really? She turned to him, her expression both tender and inscrutable. I am someone who was once lost, like you. Someone who found answers in this garden, answers I didn't know I needed. She glanced around, as if the garden itself were a friend she was confiding in. And now, I am simply part of this place. The garden and I are bound together in a way I can't fully explain. Alex felt a strange ache in his chest, a longing to understand her, to know what had led her to this place, and what held her here. How did you come to be here? What was it that you were searching for? Evelyn smiled faintly, the moonlight casting a gentle glow on her face. I was searching for peace. Like so many who come here, I carried a burden I could no longer bear, memories and regrets that weighed on my soul. The garden welcomed me, showed me pieces of myself I had tried to forget. And, in time, it helped me find peace. She paused, meeting his gaze. Perhaps it can do the same for you. Alex looked away, feeling the weight of her words settle over him. He had always thought of peace as something distant, a quiet dream obscured by the noise of daily life. And yet here, in the heart of the midnight garden, it felt within reach. Is that why you come here every night? He asked. To help people find what they've lost? Evelyn nodded, her eyes shining with a quiet, almost otherworldly light. Yes. The garden calls to those who are searching, even if they don't know it. Some people come here and see only flowers and trees, a pretty place to stroll. But others feel the garden's pull, feel its whispers. She took a step closer, her voice gentle. I think you're one of those people, Alex. He swallowed, feeling the truth of her words resonate within him. The past he had buried, the dreams he had abandoned, they all seemed to stir to life in this place, urging him to look deeper. Evelyn gestured toward a small stone pool near the edge of the clearing. The water lay perfectly still, reflecting the moon's silver light like a mirror. Look into the pool, she said softly. Let it show you what you need to see. He hesitated, his heart pounding. But with a deep breath, he stepped forward and knelt by the water's edge, staring into its depths. At first, he saw only his reflection, hazy, softened by the ripples of the water. But slowly, the image began to shift, the surface of the pool darkening until he could see a different scene taking shape. He was on a familiar beach, waves lapping gently at the shore, the sky awash with the colors of dawn. He saw his younger self standing there, staring out at the horizon, eyes wide with wonder. A wave of emotion swept over him, longing, regret, and a bittersweet ache he couldn't name. He remembered that day, the hope he had felt, the belief that life was filled with endless possibilities. But somehow, as the years passed, he had let that hope slip away, trading it for a life of routine and responsibility. As he watched, the scene changed again. He saw himself at his desk, the soft glow of his computer screen illuminating his face in the dark. He looked older, more tired, his shoulders weighed down by invisible burdens. There was no light in his eyes, only a dull exhaustion. He could almost feel the weight of those years, the slow erosion of dreams, the gradual surrender to a life that felt safe but hollow. Tears pricked at his eyes, and he looked away, the pain of it almost too much to bear. But Evelyn was beside him, her hand resting gently on his shoulder, grounding him in the present. "The garden shows us what we need to remember," she said softly. "Not to hurt us, but to help us understand." He closed his eyes, feeling the memories wash over him, the ache of lost time mingling with a quiet, unexpected peace. "I didn't realize how much I'd forgotten," he whispered. "How much I'd given up." Evelyn's hand lingered on his shoulder, a steady, comforting presence. "It's never too late, Alex. The past may be gone, but the heart can always find its way back to what it truly desires." He opened his eyes, looking up at her, the moonlight casting a soft glow over her face. There was something timeless about her, a strength and wisdom that felt both ancient and familiar. He felt a sense of gratitude, a deep appreciation for this strange, gentle guide who had led him to confront the parts of himself he had left behind. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "For showing me, for helping me see." Evelyn smiled, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "The garden is here for those who are ready to look. I only help them along the path." They stood together in silence, the weight of the night settling around them. Alex felt a sense of clarity, as though a veil had been lifted, revealing a glimpse of something truer, something real. He didn't know what lay ahead, but he knew that, somehow, he had taken the first step toward reclaiming the life he had lost. As they began to walk back, the mist thickened, and he found himself feeling strangely reluctant to leave the clearing. It was as if this place, bathed in silver moonlight, held a part of him now, a part he didn't want to let go. Before they reached the inn, he turned to Evelyn, a question on his lips. "Will I see you again? Tomorrow night?" Evelyn's gaze softened, her smile mysterious. "Perhaps. Or perhaps the garden will have something else to show you." She looked at him, her eyes reflecting the light of the moon. "Trust yourself, Alex. You're stronger than you think." And with that, she stepped back into the mist, her figure fading like a shadow, leaving him standing alone beneath the silver moon. He watched until she disappeared entirely, a sense of loss mingling with a quiet resolve. As he returned to his room, he felt a peace he hadn't known in years, as though a weight had been lifted from his heart. And though he didn't fully understand what had happened that night, he knew one thing with certainty: he would return to the garden. He would walk its paths, listen to its whispers, and search for the parts of himself he had left behind. And maybe, just maybe, he would find Evelyn waiting for him beneath the silver moon. The next day passed slowly for Alex, anticipation thrumming beneath his skin. He busied himself with the mundane tasks that filled his hours at the Winding Ivy, but his thoughts were far away, tethered to the garden and the promise of another encounter with Evelyn. Each moment dragged, and when twilight finally descended, he felt a spark of excitement ignite within him. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Alex made his way toward the midnight garden, his heart racing with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The path felt familiar now, each step leading him deeper into a world that felt increasingly like home. He arrived at the garden's entrance and paused for a moment, taking in the serene beauty before him, the soft glow of lanterns flickering to life, the gentle sway of the mist that curled around the trees like a lover's embrace. Tonight, the garden seemed alive with a vibrant energy, as if it were eagerly awaiting his arrival. Alex inhaled deeply, filling his lungs with the fragrant scent of jasmine and damp earth, and stepped inside. He wandered down the winding paths, marveling at how the garden transformed with each visit. The familiar sights, blooming flowers, ancient stones, and the silvery pond, were now imbued with a sense of wonder, each element telling a story that beckoned him closer. Yet, it was the clearing beneath the moon that held his heart captive, a sanctuary where he hoped to find Evelyn once again. As he approached the clearing, something caught his eye, a silhouette standing near the edge of the woods. It was a tree, distinct and unlike any he had seen before. Its trunk twisted and turned, gnarled and ancient, with branches that reached toward the sky like the fingers of a giant reaching for the stars. The leaves shimmered in the moonlight, their silver edges glowing against the dark backdrop of the night. Alex felt a pull toward the tree, an inexplicable urge to understand its story. He approached cautiously, marveling at the intricate carvings that adorned its trunk. They seemed to tell tales of forgotten times, figures dancing, animals leaping, and symbols that hinted at ancient wisdom. He traced his fingers over the bark, feeling a warm energy radiate from it, a pulse that resonated with something deep inside him. "Beautiful, isn't it?" a voice said softly, breaking the stillness of the night. He turned, his heart leaping as he saw Evelyn standing a few paces away, her silhouette framed by the moonlight. "Yes," he replied, unable to take his eyes off the tree. "What is it?" Evelyn stepped closer, her gaze fixed on the tree with a reverence that mirrored his own. "This is the heartwood tree," she explained, her voice gentle and melodic. "It's said to be the oldest tree in Misty Brook, a keeper of the town's secrets and stories. Many believe it has the power to reveal truths to those who seek them." "What kind of truths?" Alex asked, intrigued. "What can it show me?" Evelyn smiled, her expression enigmatic. "That depends on what you bring to it. The tree listens to your heart, your thoughts, and it can reflect what you need to see in order to move forward. But be warned, it does not offer easy answers. Sometimes the truths it reveals can be difficult to accept." Alex felt a mix of excitement and fear. "What if I'm not ready for that?" "Then it will guide you gently, revealing what you can handle. Remember, every journey is unique." She stepped toward the tree, placing her hand on the trunk. "I found solace here once. It helped me understand my own burdens. He hesitated for a moment before following her lead, placing his palm against the rough bark. The sensation was immediate, warmth surged through him, and for a brief instant, he felt as if the tree were alive, breathing with a rhythm that matched his own. Visions flickered behind his eyes, a montage of memories and emotions, the laughter of friends, moments of joy intermingled with shadows of regret. "Focus on what you seek," Evelyn urged softly, her voice a soothing balm. "Let the tree guide you." Taking a deep breath, Alex closed his eyes, allowing himself to be enveloped by the sensations around him. He thought of the choices he had made, the paths he had taken, and the life he had created. Yet beneath the surface lay an undeniable longing, a desire to reconnect with the vibrant man he once was. In the darkness behind his eyelids, images swirled, his younger self, filled with dreams, the carefree days at the beach, and the reckless joy of adventure. Yet these images soon faded, replaced by heavier memories, the weight of responsibilities, the disappointments of unmet goals, the fear of stepping outside his comfort zone. As the visions danced in his mind, a new image formed. He stood at a crossroads, two paths diverging before him. One path led back to the life he had created, predictable and safe, while the other shimmered with uncertainty, full of possibilities he had not yet explored. It was a choice he had made too many times before, and the weight of it felt suffocating. Alex opened his eyes, and the world came rushing back. The tree stood before him, its gnarled trunk and shimmering leaves untouched by time. "What did you see?" Evelyn asked, her eyes filled with understanding. "I saw choices," he replied, feeling the gravity of his revelations. "I'm afraid of what lies ahead. I don't know if I have the courage to change." Evelyn stepped closer, her presence a calming force. "Change is never easy, but remember that you hold the power to shape your own destiny. The heartwood tree can help you see the possibilities, but it's up to you to take the first step." He nodded, feeling the weight of her words settle on his chest. "I've been afraid for so long. Afraid of failing, of letting people down, of leaving my comfort zone." Evelyn smiled gently, her expression warm and encouraging. "Fear is a natural part of growth, Alex. It often keeps us from moving forward, but it can also be a catalyst for change. Embrace it, and let it guide you instead of holding you back." As they stood together beneath the shimmering leaves of the heartwood tree, Alex felt a shift within him, as though the tree's wisdom were sinking into his very being. The night was still, the moon hanging high in the sky, casting a silvery light upon them. "I want to try," he said finally, determination creeping into his voice. "I want to explore what lies ahead, even if it scares me." Evelyn's smile widened, a mixture of pride and hope lighting her features. "That's the spirit, Alex. Each step you take will bring you closer to the person you're meant to be." As the night deepened, they shared stories beneath the tree, exchanging thoughts and laughter, the bond between them growing stronger. Alex felt lighter, as if the burdens he had carried were slowly being lifted, piece by piece, revealing the potential that lay within him. The heartwood tree stood as a silent witness to their connection, its branches swaying gently in the night breeze, as if whispering secrets of the past and promises of the future. Alex knew that this was just the beginning, a new chapter in a journey that would lead him to discover not only the garden's mysteries but the depths of his own heart. With the moon shining down on them, Alex felt a surge of hope, a belief that perhaps, amidst the shadows of fear and doubt, he could carve out a new path, one filled with adventure, joy, and the possibility of finding himself once more. The moon hung high in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over the midnight garden as Alex and Evelyn stood beneath the heartwood tree. The air was thick with the scent of night-blooming jasmine, the fragrance wrapping around them like a comforting shawl. They lingered in the moment, the weight of their conversation settling between them, a shared understanding forging a bond deeper than words. As the tranquility of the night enveloped them, Alex felt a flicker of apprehension. "Evelyn," he began, his voice tinged with uncertainty, "what if I try to embrace change, but it doesn't work out? What if I fail?" Evelyn turned to him, her expression thoughtful. "Failure is part of the journey, Alex. It doesn't define you. Every time you fall, you have the opportunity to rise again, to learn and grow. The echoes of your past mistakes can guide you, but they shouldn't hold you prisoner. What's important is how you respond to them." He absorbed her words, feeling a mix of comfort and lingering fear. "But the past is heavy. It's hard to let go." "Then don't let go entirely," she suggested, her voice soothing. "Embrace the lessons it offers, carry them with you, but don't let them dictate your future. Your past is a part of you, but it doesn't have to define who you are today or who you will become." As she spoke, a soft rustling in the underbrush caught his attention. They both turned toward the sound, their senses heightened. The air felt charged, and the tranquility of the garden shifted, as if it were holding its breath. "Did you hear that?" Alex asked, scanning the shadows around them. Evelyn nodded, her eyes narrowing as she focused on the darkness just beyond the clearing. "It's probably just a creature of the night. The garden is alive, after all." But Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The gentle rustling grew louder, more insistent, and he stepped closer to Evelyn, instinctively seeking her presence as a shield against the unknown. "Stay close," he murmured, and they moved together, drawing nearer to the source of the sound. As they approached the edge of the clearing, the moonlight cast a silvery beam onto a small figure crouched low among the ferns. A fox emerged, its fur a striking russet against the green foliage, eyes gleaming with curiosity and intelligence. Alex felt a wave of relief wash over him. The fox's presence seemed to break the tension that had momentarily enveloped the garden. "It's beautiful," he breathed, watching as the fox sniffed the air, its ears perked up, alert to every sound. "They say foxes are guides in many cultures. Perhaps this one is meant to lead us somewhere." Evelyn smiled, her expression lightening. "Yes, They're often seen as symbols of adaptability and cunning. This little one may be here to remind you to embrace your instincts. The fox tilted its head as if considering them, and then, with a flick of its tail, it darted into the shadows, pausing briefly to look back at them. Alex exchanged a glance with Evelyn, a shared sense of adventure igniting between them. Without hesitation, they followed, their hearts pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The fox led them deeper into the garden, weaving through the trees and ferns, its movements graceful and fluid. Alex felt alive, a rush of adrenaline coursing through him as they ventured further into the unknown. The moonlight filtered through the leaves, creating a patchwork of light and shadow on the ground, illuminating their path. "Where do you think it's taking us?" he whispered, unable to contain his curiosity. Evelyn shrugged, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Only one way to find out." They followed the fox until it led them to a small clearing, one Alex had never encountered before. The air felt different here, charged with an energy that made the hairs on his arms stand on end. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient stone circle, weathered and covered in moss, its presence commanding and mysterious. "What is this place?" Alex asked, stepping closer to the stones, feeling their age and wisdom. Evelyn looked around, her expression a mix of awe and reverence. "I've never seen this before. It feels sacred, like a place where the past and present converge." Alex reached out to touch one of the stones, feeling a vibration beneath his fingertips. As he did, a memory flickered in his mind, echoes of laughter, of voices carried on the wind, snippets of conversations long forgotten. The memory was distant but vivid, like the remnants of a dream just out of reach. Suddenly, a chill swept through the clearing, and he pulled his hand back, glancing at Evelyn. "Did you feel that?" She nodded, her expression serious. "It's as if the stones are alive, holding memories of those who have come before us." The wind picked up, rustling through the trees, and Alex felt a sense of urgency. "What do you think they're trying to tell us?" Evelyn stepped closer to the circle, her gaze penetrating as she focused on the stones. "Perhaps they're urging us to confront our own pasts. The echoes of our choices, our regrets, they linger here. Maybe this is a chance for you to confront what you fear most." The weight of her words hung in the air, and Alex's heart raced as he considered what lay before him. The memories he had tried to bury rushed back, and he took a step back, fear gripping him. "I don't know if I can face it," he admitted, the vulnerability in his voice raw. "What if I can't handle what I find?" Evelyn's eyes softened. "You are stronger than you realize. The stones are not here to hurt you, they are here to offer clarity. You can choose what to carry forward and what to leave behind." Taking a deep breath, Alex closed his eyes and turned back to the stones, allowing himself to be enveloped by the energy of the moment. The echoes surged within him, a chorus of voices whispering of past choices, regrets, and fears, all vying for his attention. With every heartbeat, He felt the weight of his decisions, the missed opportunities, the roads not taken, the dreams he had buried beneath layers of responsibility. But alongside that weight came a flicker of hope, the possibility that he could still reclaim those dreams. "I'm ready," he said, the words spilling forth, filled with conviction. "I want to see." As he opened his eyes, the moonlight illuminated the clearing, and the air around him shimmered with possibility. The stones stood like sentinels, guardians of the past, waiting for him to embrace the echoes that surrounded him. With Evelyn by his side, Alex took a step into the stone circle, feeling a rush of energy that connected him to something greater. The night wrapped around them, and the echoes began to rise, revealing a tapestry of stories woven into the fabric of time. He closed his eyes again, surrendering to the moment, ready to confront the shadows that had lingered for far too long. In that sacred space, he felt the weight of his past transform into a canvas for his future, each echo, a lesson, each whisper, a reminder that he had the power to shape his own destiny. And as he stood within the circle, surrounded by the echoes in the dark, Alex felt the first stirrings of hope, the realization that he could reclaim his narrative, embracing the journey that lay ahead. The echoes of memories swirled around Alex as he stood within the stone circle, their whispers a blend of familiar faces and long-forgotten dreams. It was as if the very air thickened with the weight of the past, yet in that moment, he felt a spark of resolve igniting within him. He took a deep breath, ready to face whatever the echoes had to reveal. "Alex," Evelyn's voice broke through the haze of recollections, grounding him. "Look." He turned to where she pointed, and his eyes widened. At the edge of the clearing, half hidden among the ferns and shadows, stood an old lantern, its glass panes dulled with age, but its frame still sturdy and elegant. Intrigued, he stepped closer, leaving the protective confines of the stone circle. The lantern was beautiful, intricately designed with swirling patterns etched into the metal. It appeared to be a relic of another time, and though it was covered in a thin layer of dust, it radiated an inviting warmth. Alex reached out to touch it, feeling the cool metal under his fingertips. As he lifted it from its resting place, the world around him shifted. The lantern flickered to life, glowing with a soft, golden light that spilled forth like liquid sunshine, illuminating the darkness of the clearing. He gasped, startled by the sudden radiance. The light felt alive, pulsing gently as if it held a heartbeat of its own. "What is it?" he asked, mesmerized by the lantern's glow. Evelyn stepped closer, her eyes wide with wonder. "It looks enchanted." This could be one of the legendary lanterns said to possess magical properties. Some believe they can guide lost souls or reveal hidden truths. Alex turned the lantern over in his hands, the glow casting playful shadows around them. "What kind of truths?" "Perhaps the truths you're searching for," she replied thoughtfully, her gaze fixed on the light. "It seems to resonate with your journey, Alex. Maybe it can help illuminate the path you need to take." With the lantern in hand, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. "Should we take it with us?" he asked, looking into her eyes for guidance. "I think we should. It might reveal something important, something you need to see," she encouraged. Nodding, Alex felt a surge of determination. Together, they made their way back to the stone circle, the lantern's glow lighting their path. Once they reached the center, he placed it on the ground between them, the warm light bathing the stones in a golden hue. "Now what?" he wondered aloud, glancing at Evelyn. "Focus on what you seek," she reminded him gently, taking a step back to give him space. "Let the lantern guide you." With a deep breath, Alex knelt beside the lantern, closing his eyes once more. He felt the warmth radiating from it, a gentle pulse that matched the rhythm of his heartbeat. As he concentrated, the glow intensified, illuminating the clearing around them in a golden light. Suddenly, images began to form within the lantern's glow, visions of his past, moments of joy and sorrow flickering like a film. He saw himself as a child, carefree and full of dreams, playing on the sandy shores of Misty Brook. He could almost hear the laughter of his friends, the sound of waves crashing in the distance. But then the scene shifted, the laughter fading into shadows. He watched as he grew older, making choices that led him away from those carefree days, each decision heavy with consequence. He saw the job that had consumed him, the relationships that had suffered, the dreams that had slipped away one by one. The weight of it all pressed down on him, and he struggled to breathe. "Alex, let it go," Evelyn's voice echoed softly in his mind. "You are not those choices. You can still forge your path." With that reminder, he willed himself to release the memories, to allow them to drift away like leaves on the wind. As he did, the lantern pulsed brighter, and new images emerged, glimpses of possibility, vibrant scenes filled with color and light. He saw himself hiking through the mountains, the thrill of adventure coursing through his veins. He envisioned laughter shared over meals with friends, the joy of rekindled connections. He imagined standing on a stage, sharing his art with the world, and the overwhelming sense of fulfillment that came with it. Tears welled in his eyes as he realized how much he had missed. The dreams he had buried beneath responsibilities and fears were still there, waiting for him to reclaim them. "Can I really?" he whispered, his heart racing. "Can I still pursue those dreams?" The lantern flickered, as if in response, and the light grew even brighter, illuminating the clearing in a warm embrace. He felt a surge of hope and courage wash over him, as though the lantern was affirming his desire to move forward. "Yes, Alex. You have the power to create the life you want," Evelyn urged, her voice steady and reassuring. "Believe in yourself. Trust that you can find your way." With each moment, the weight of his past felt lighter, the echoes of regret replaced by the promise of new beginnings. The lantern seemed to shimmer with energy, and Alex realized it was not just a guide, it was a beacon of hope. As the last of the visions faded, Alex opened his eyes, the golden glow of the lantern filling him with a sense of peace. He turned to Evelyn, his heart full of gratitude. "Thank you for being here with me," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I couldn't have done this without you." She smiled, a radiant expression that lit up her face. "You found your way, Alex. The lantern merely showed you what was always within you." They shared a moment of silence, the magic of the garden surrounding them, the air alive with possibilities. The lantern continued to glow, casting a warm light that felt like a promise of renewal, of adventure, and of a life reimagined. With newfound resolve, Alex stood, the lantern in hand, ready to embrace the journey that lay ahead. "Let's go," he said, determination lacing his voice. "It's time to discover what's waiting for us beyond the garden." Together, they stepped out of the clearing, leaving the echoes of the past behind them. The lantern illuminated their path as they ventured forth into the unknown, hearts entwined in the shared hope of what lay ahead. And as they walked, Alex felt a sense of liberation wash over him, the knowledge that he was no longer defined by his past, but was instead the architect of his future. The adventure was just beginning. As Alex and Evelyn left the warmth of the stone circle, the enchanting glow of the lantern illuminated their path, guiding them deeper into the heart of the midnight garden. The air had grown cooler, a gentle breeze rustling through the leaves, carrying the sweet scent of night-blooming flowers. But with the beauty of the night came an unsettling fog that began to creep in from the edges of the garden, swirling around their feet like whispered secrets. "What do you think this fog means?" Evelyn asked, peering into the thickening mist. The ethereal light from the lantern struggled to penetrate the dense shroud, casting eerie shadows that danced and flickered around them. "I'm not sure," Alex replied, feeling a twinge of unease. "It almost feels alive, like it's trying to envelop us." He glanced back at the clearing they had just left, where the echoes of the past still lingered like faint whispers in the air. "Stay close," Evelyn said, taking a step nearer to him, her hand brushing against his. The warmth of her touch reassured him, grounding him in the midst of uncertainty. As they ventured further, the fog thickened, swirling in delicate tendrils that wrapped around their ankles and swirled about their legs. The world around them transformed into a surreal landscape, where shapes loomed in the distance and sounds echoed strangely. The garden that had once felt so welcoming now seemed to hide shadows and secrets, and every step felt heavy with the weight of unseen eyes watching them. "Look," Evelyn pointed ahead, her voice steady but edged with curiosity. "There's something in the fog." Straining his eyes, Alex squinted into the thickening mist. Gradually, shapes began to emerge, a series of dark figures, indistinct and wavering like phantoms. His heart raced, and he took a protective step in front of Evelyn. "Do you see them?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "Are those people?" "I think so," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "But they're not quite clear. It's like they're caught between worlds." The lantern's glow flickered as if responding to the tension in the air, illuminating the figures momentarily before casting them back into shadow. Alex felt a knot tighten in his stomach. The shapes swayed like leaves caught in a breeze, their outlines shifting and changing with each flicker of light. "Should we approach?" Evelyn asked, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and intrigue. "I don't know," Alex admitted, anxiety prickling at the edges of his mind. "They could be lost souls, or something worse." Suddenly, the figures began to move toward them, gliding silently through the fog. Alex held his breath, heart pounding as the shapes gradually became more defined, humanoid but ethereal, their features obscured, as though made of smoke and shadow. "Stay close to me," he urged, gripping the lantern tightly. As the figures drew nearer, Alex could discern faint sounds, whispers intermingled with the rustling of leaves. The air grew thick with an overwhelming sense of longing, a resonance that tugged at something deep within him. One figure stepped forward, its form wavering like a candle flame caught in a draft. "Help us," it murmured, the voice echoing in his mind like a distant memory. "We are lost. We seek the way home." "Home?" Alex echoed, his voice barely audible above the rising wind. "What do you mean? Who are you?" "We are the forgotten," the figure replied, its voice filled with a haunting melancholy. "Once, we wandered the world, filled with dreams and desires. But we lost our way in the fog, trapped between moments and memories." Evelyn's grip on Alex's arm tightened. "They're like echoes of the past, just like you saw in the lantern." He nodded slowly, his heart aching for the lost souls. "What can we do to help you?" The figure swayed, its form flickering as if caught in the balance of existence. "Find the path through the fog. Help us remember who we were. Help us find our way back to the light." With a deep breath, Alex stepped forward, the lantern's glow casting a soft light on the figure. "I'll help you," he promised, feeling an undeniable connection to the lost souls. "But you have to guide me. Show me the way." "Follow the echoes," the figure whispered, gesturing with an outstretched hand. "Let the memories lead you." As the figure retreated into the mist, the others followed, their forms dissipating like smoke, but their presence lingering like a gentle caress. The fog shifted, swirling with the remnants of their energy, and Alex felt the call of the past urging him forward. "Let's go," he said to Evelyn, determination surging within him. "We can help them." Together, they moved deeper into the fog, the lantern's light pulsing with every step. The whispers grew louder, echoing around them, a chorus of longing and memory guiding their way. The air shimmered with anticipation, and Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. "Keep your mind open," Evelyn urged. "Listen to the echoes. They may lead us to what we need to find." As they pressed on, memories began to unravel in the fog, visions of laughter, of love, of dreams once cherished. Alex felt the weight of his own past lifting as he let the echoes wash over him, embracing the emotions that surfaced. But just as hope began to blossom, the fog thickened again, and the lantern flickered dangerously low. Shadows closed in around them, and a chill seeped into the air, sending shivers down Alex's spine. Alex! Evelyn cried, her voice rising above the whispers. We have to stay focused. We can't get lost in the memories. Nodding, he tightened his grip on the lantern, willing the light to shine brighter. Let's remember why we're here. We need to help them find their way. With renewed resolve, they moved deeper into the mist, listening to the echoes of lost souls guiding them toward the light. Each step felt charged with purpose, and as the lantern flickered back to life, illuminating their path, they knew they were on the brink of something transformative. Together, he said, squeezing Evelyn's hand. We'll find our way, for us and for them. As they forged ahead, the fog began to shift, revealing a glimmer of light in the distance, a sign of hope, a promise of clarity amid the shadows. The footsteps of the lost souls followed, a gentle reminder that the journey was not just theirs alone, it was a collective path toward healing and understanding. And as they walked hand in hand into the unknown, Alex felt the weight of the fog beginning to lift, the first signs of dawn breaking through the darkness, illuminating the way forward. Together, they would help the lost find their way home, and in doing so, Alex would discover his own path as well. As Alex and Evelyn navigated the swirling fog, the lantern's warm glow began to pierce through the dense mist, illuminating their surroundings and casting dancing shadows on the ground. The ethereal light flickered with an energy of its own, urging them forward. Each step they took felt significant, as if they were crossing thresholds into realms of memory long buried. Do you feel that? Evelyn whispered, her voice barely above a breath. It's like the air is alive with stories waiting to be told. Alex nodded, a shiver of anticipation coursing through him. The whispers of the lost souls seemed to echo louder, beckoning them deeper into the heart of the fog. We're getting closer, he said, determined to stay focused on their mission. We need to help them remember who they are. As they pressed on, the fog began to thin, revealing fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures moving gracefully through the ethereal haze. Each figure seemed to shimmer with a life of its own, their features blurred yet familiar, as if caught in a dance of nostalgia. Alex felt an inexplicable connection to them, as if fragments of his own past were intertwining with theirs. Look! Evelyn exclaimed, pointing ahead. There's something there. In the distance, a clearing began to materialize, the fog receding to reveal a beautiful glen bathed in soft, golden light. At its center stood a magnificent tree, its branches sprawling wide, adorned with leaves that sparkled like jewels. The tree radiated a sense of wisdom and strength, its gnarled trunk twisted with age, inviting them to draw nearer. What kind of tree is that? Alex asked, awestruck by its presence. It looks magical. It's a memory tree, Evelyn replied, stepping forward. They say that such trees hold the memories of those who have passed, allowing them to relive their experiences and share their stories with others. With a mixture of curiosity and reverence, Alex approached the tree, feeling a deep sense of connection to it. The air shimmered around them, the whispers of the lost souls swirling like leaves in a gentle breeze. "Can we help them?" he wondered aloud, placing a hand on the rough bark of the tree. It felt warm beneath his palm, pulsing with a rhythm that echoed his heartbeat. "Yes," Evelyn replied, her voice steady with conviction. "By recalling our own memories, we can help them find their lost truths." Taking a deep breath, Alex closed his eyes, allowing the sensations around him to wash over him. He focused on the lantern's glow, the warmth of Evelyn's presence, and the whispers of the souls surrounding them. Images began to materialize behind his eyelids, snapshots of his own life, moments of joy and sorrow intertwined. Suddenly, a powerful memory surged forth, vivid and bright. He found himself standing on the shore of Misty Brook, the golden sun setting on the horizon. Laughter echoed around him as he played with friends, their carefree spirits igniting the evening air. "Remember, Alex," a voice called, and he turned to see a familiar face, Tommy, his childhood best friend, beaming with joy. "Let's make this the best summer ever." In that instant, Alex felt the purest form of happiness, a lightness that resonated deep within his soul. But then, the memory shifted, darkness creeping in. He saw the day Tommy had moved away, their last moments together etched with heartbreak. The laughter faded, replaced by tears and an overwhelming sense of loss. "Don't forget me, okay?" Tommy's voice echoed, his face fading into the fog, leaving only a whisper of his presence. Alex's heart ached as he relived the bittersweet memory. "I've never forgotten," he whispered, tears pricking at the corners of his eyes. But life got in the way. As the scene dissolved, the glow of the memory tree intensified, enveloping him in its warmth. Suddenly, he was pulled into another memory, one where he had performed on stage for the first time, the thrill of the spotlight casting away his fears. The audience's applause rang in his ears, a sound that had faded from his life over the years. "Why did I stop?" he pondered, feeling the echoes of lost dreams wrap around him. The voices of the forgotten souls intertwined with his, urging him to remember not just the pain, but the joy and triumph of pursuing his passions. "Alex," Evelyn's voice broke through the haze, grounding him once more. "You're not just remembering for yourself. You're helping them find their way back, too." Opening his eyes, he turned to her, determination fueling his spirit. "You're right. If I can reconnect with my past, maybe they can too." With that thought, he stepped back from the tree, its branches swaying gently in the breeze, the whispers around them swelling with anticipation. "Let's call to them," he said, raising the lantern high. "Let's share our memories." Evelyn nodded, her eyes alight with understanding. Together, they began to speak, recounting their stories, sharing the moments that had shaped them, both the joyous and the painful. They spoke of love, loss, and the courage to embrace their true selves. As their voices intertwined, the air crackled with energy, and the memory tree seemed to respond, its branches reaching higher, the golden light intensifying. The fog shifted, swirling around them, carrying their words into the depths of the mist. And then, one by one, the shadowy figures emerged from the fog, their forms becoming clearer, their eyes filled with longing. They listened intently, drawn to the warmth of the memories shared, their presence a tapestry of emotions woven together. "Remember," one figure murmured, stepping forward, its outline shimmering with a glow. "Remember the laughter, the dreams, the love that filled your hearts." With each story told, the figures began to take shape, their features slowly coming into focus. Alex recognized the joy and pain reflected in their eyes, the universal experiences of longing and hope that transcended time and space. Evelyn's voice rang out, filled with passion and strength. "You are not lost. You are here, and we will help you find your way home." The fog began to lift, revealing the glen in its full beauty, and the lantern's glow surged brighter, bathing everything in a warm embrace. The lost souls, now solid forms of light and shadow, gathered around the memory tree, their faces illuminated with understanding. Alex felt a deep sense of connection to each of them, as if their experiences intertwined with his own. They were all wanderers seeking solace, and in that moment, he understood the power of shared memories, the way they could heal and guide. "Let us find the light together," he called, feeling the energy surge around them. "Let us remember who we are, not just as individuals, but as a collective of dreams and hopes." With those words, the figures stepped forward, the boundaries of their pasts intertwining with the present, creating a kaleidoscope of colors and emotions. The memory tree shimmered, its branches glowing brighter than ever before, casting a radiant light across the glen. As the fog lifted and the whispers grew faint, Alex knew they had sparked something transformative. The lost souls were beginning to find their way back to themselves, guided by the memories shared, and in doing so, they were also guiding him toward his own truth. In that sacred space, the glen became a sanctuary of healing, a testament to the power of connection and the resilience of the human spirit. Alex and Evelyn stood together, hearts intertwined, ready to embrace the journey that lay ahead, a journey not just of self-discovery, but one of collective remembrance and hope. The glow from the memory tree illuminated the glen, casting flickering shadows that danced along the ground like playful spirits. As the last tendrils of fog retreated, Alex and Evelyn stood hand in hand, surrounded by the newly manifested forms of the lost souls. Each figure shimmered with a light that seemed to pulse with their regained sense of purpose, their expressions reflecting a mix of relief and gratitude. "Thank you," one figure, a woman with kind eyes and flowing hair, said, stepping forward. "You have helped us remember who we are. Our stories, our laughter, it's all coming back to us." "It's not just you," Alex replied, feeling a surge of warmth in his chest. "We've all felt lost at times. Sharing our memories has the power to heal us all." As he spoke, he glanced at the other figures surrounding the memory tree. Each shadow bore witness to lives once vibrant, now faded into echoes. They were not mere apparitions, they were reflections of hopes and dreams, shadows of what could have been. He could sense the energy in the air, a mingling of nostalgia and longing that hung thick like the mist they had traversed. "What happens now?" Evelyn asked, her voice laced with curiosity. "How do we help them move on?" The woman nodded, her expression earnest. "We must confront the shadows of our past. Each of us carries memories that weigh heavily, fears that bind us to this place. We must face what we have lost before we can truly find our way home." The words resonated deeply within Alex. He felt an undeniable pull toward understanding the essence of loss, not just for the spirits, but for himself as well. He had lost Tommy, his dreams, and at times, even himself in the chaos of life. It was a reckoning he could no longer ignore. As the figures gathered around, the woman continued, "To confront our shadows, we must return to the moments that shaped us, the ones that haunt us. Together, we can break the chains of the past." "Together," Evelyn echoed, squeezing Alex's hand tighter. "We're not alone in this. We'll face it as one." The group formed a circle, standing in the warm light of the memory tree. The air shimmered with anticipation, and Alex could feel the energy pulsating around them. They were ready to embark on a journey of remembrance, a collective exploration of their shadows. One by one, the figures began to share their stories, stepping forward to confront their pasts. A young man, whose eyes held the weight of unfulfilled dreams, recounted the day he had given up on his passion for painting. "I lost myself in the expectations of others," he said, his voice trembling. "But I want to paint again. I want to remember the joy it brought me." As he spoke, the colors of the glen shifted, vibrant hues swirling around him like brushstrokes on a canvas. The energy of his passion ignited a ripple of light, illuminating the path ahead. Next, an elderly man with a sorrowful gaze stepped forward. "I lost my family too soon," he said, his voice heavy with regret. "I never got to say goodbye. I want them to know I still love them." His words echoed through the air, and the light enveloped him in a warm embrace. Alex felt the shadows of grief lift slightly, the power of love transcending even the darkest of memories. As more figures shared their stories, Alex sensed the collective energy intensifying. Each confession became a thread, weaving their experiences into a tapestry of shared vulnerability. Together, they were dismantling the shadows that had bound them to this place. "Now it's your turn, Alex," Evelyn encouraged, her eyes filled with understanding. "Share your shadow with us." Feeling the weight of her words, Alex took a deep breath, the memories swirling in his mind like autumn leaves caught in a gust of wind. He stepped forward, grounding himself in the light of the memory tree. "I've lost many things," he began, voice steady yet vulnerable. "But the hardest was losing my best friend, Tommy. When he moved away, I felt like I lost a part of myself. I never reached out after he left. I let fear and distance separate us." The air thickened with emotion, and the figures around him leaned in closer, their gazes encouraging. I've carried that regret with me, he continued, tears pricking at his eyes. It's a shadow that has haunted me, reminding me of what could have been. Suddenly, a faint shimmer appeared in the air beside him, an image of Tommy, laughing and carefree, just as Alex remembered him. I never wanted to forget you, Tommy, he said, his voice breaking. I was scared. I thought you wouldn't want to be friends anymore. The figure of Tommy flickered, his smile gentle and reassuring. You are not alone in this, Alex. You are my best friend, and that will never change. Remember the laughter we shared. As Tommy's image faded, a warmth washed over Alex, washing away years of guilt and sorrow. The memories he had buried resurfaced, transforming from shadows of regret into vibrant echoes of joy. I want to find my way back to those moments, he declared, turning to the group, not just for myself, but for all of you. We can rediscover what we love together. The circle of figures surged with renewed energy, their collective light intertwining with his own. Yes, they shouted in unison, voices ringing with hope. Together, we will reclaim our stories. With each passing moment, the glen transformed, vibrant colors erupting around them. The memory tree pulsed with life, each heartbeat echoing the resonance of their shared experiences. Alex felt the weight of the shadows lifting, replaced by the warmth of community and understanding. As the energy swirled around them, the figures began to transform, their outlines becoming sharper, more defined. They were shedding their former selves, emerging from the fog as vibrant beings filled with purpose. We are the forgotten no longer, the young artist declared, raising his arms toward the sky. We are the echoes of our memories, the dreams we have yet to fulfill. Evelyn smiled, her spirit alight with inspiration. Let's take this light with us. We can carry it into the world, sharing our stories and inspiring others to confront their own shadows. In that moment, Alex felt a powerful bond forming between them all, a tapestry woven from threads of shared experience, resilience, and hope. Together, they had confronted the shadows of their pasts, igniting a flame of understanding that would guide them toward the future. As the glen shimmered with renewed life, Alex knew they had created a sanctuary, a place where lost souls could find solace and healing. And in the process, he had rediscovered a piece of himself, a part that had long been buried under the weight of regret. Let's embrace this journey, he said, looking around at the faces of the figures who had become more than just echoes of the past. We'll find our way home, together. As they stepped forward, the memory tree loomed behind them, a symbol of their growth, resilience, and the enduring power of memory. Together, they were no longer just shadows of the forgotten, they were the light, ready to illuminate the path ahead. As the vibrant hues of the glen settled into a soft twilight, Alex, Evelyn, and the gathered souls moved toward a cozy clearing where a fire pit flickered invitingly. The memory tree stood majestically behind them, a beacon of their collective journey and healing. With every soul they had helped, a sense of unity grew stronger, binding them together in a tapestry of stories and shared experiences. "Let's sit around the fire," Evelyn suggested, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "It's time to celebrate our victories and share even more of our truths." The group nodded in agreement, finding seats on the grass and roots that sprawled around the fire pit. Evelyn knelt down to kindle the flames, her fingers deftly arranging dry leaves and twigs. The fire sprang to life, crackling and popping as the warm glow enveloped them in a comforting embrace. Shadows danced along the ground, their flickering forms a testament to the stories that lingered in the air. Once the flames settled, Evelyn spoke softly. "In many traditions, fire symbolizes transformation and renewal. It can illuminate the darkest corners of our hearts and reveal truths we've kept hidden." She glanced around the circle, inviting others to share. "I'll go first," the elderly man said, his voice steady but tinged with nostalgia. "The last memory I shared was of my family. I felt such sadness after losing them, but I also remember the warmth of our gatherings around the fireplace during the holidays. We would share stories, laughter, and the love that filled our home." As he spoke, the firelight seemed to flicker in sync with his words, casting golden reflections in his eyes. "That warmth is something I've missed deeply, and I've held on to it like a lifeline. I want to carry that love with me, not just for them, but for the life I still have ahead." His story resonated deeply with the group, prompting others to join in. One by one, they shared their truths, joys intertwined with sorrows, memories wrapped in longing and hope. The air grew thick with emotion as the flames danced higher, illuminating the faces of those gathered in a soft, ethereal glow. When it was Alex's turn, he felt a swell of emotion rising within him. "I've been on a journey of rediscovery," he began, the warmth of the fire comforting him as he opened up. "My memory of Tommy reminded me of the times we spent together, the dreams we shared, and the laughter that once filled my days." He paused, gathering his thoughts. "But I've also realized that I've let fear prevent me from pursuing my passions. I've buried my dreams beneath the weight of regret, and I want to change that." The flames crackled in response, embers swirling like fireflies in the night. "Being here, with all of you, has rekindled that spark inside me. It feels like a rebirth. I want to embrace life fully, not just exist." Evelyn beamed at him, her eyes shimmering with understanding. We all have those parts of ourselves we need to reclaim. In this circle, we're free to be our true selves, to share and learn from one another. The atmosphere pulsed with energy as more stories were shared, the firelight illuminating secrets that had long been hidden. Each confession wove a stronger bond between them, an understanding that they were not alone in their struggles. Finally, the young artist, emboldened by the camaraderie, stood to speak. "When I left my passion for painting behind, I felt like I was cutting off a part of my identity. I buried my easel and paints, thinking I could grow up and leave childish things behind." His voice trembled with vulnerability. "But I see now that art is not just a hobby, it's a part of my soul. The stories I tell through my work, the emotions I pour into every brushstroke, they connect me to everyone around me." As he spoke, the flames began to swirl with colors, vibrant hues of blue, red, and green dancing in sync with his words. It was as if the fire itself was responding to the emotion, eager to celebrate the revelation. "I want to paint again," he continued, determination filling his voice. "I want to capture our stories, the laughter, the love. I want to remind everyone that we all have a story worth telling." The fire roared in agreement, casting a warm glow over the group. Alex could feel the weight of their pasts beginning to lift, each shared truth igniting a flicker of hope. As the night deepened, the tales flowed freely. Secrets were unveiled, and wounds laid bare, yet amidst the vulnerability, a sense of liberation enveloped them. The firelight became a safe haven, where they could shed their burdens and embrace the fullness of their identities. Evelyn turned her gaze to the sky, where stars began to twinkle above them, each a glimmering reminder of the stories that existed beyond the confines of their own. "Look at the stars," she said softly. "They are like our memories, sometimes faint, sometimes bright, but always there. Even when we can't see them, they exist, waiting to be rediscovered." With her words, a sense of wonder filled the air. One by one, they looked up, the fire's glow fading into the backdrop of the night sky. In that moment, Alex felt the weight of his shadows dissipate, replaced by the beauty of connection and shared experience. As the hours passed, laughter and stories mingled with the crackling fire, weaving a tapestry of hope that spanned generations. They discovered not just their own stories, but also the histories that intertwined through time and space, connecting them to the very fabric of existence. Eventually, the fire began to burn low, the embers glowing like distant stars. A peaceful silence enveloped the group, and in that stillness, they felt the warmth of their shared experiences radiating around them, binding them together as one. "We've created something special here," Alex said, breaking the silence. "This circle, this bond, we have the power to inspire each other and those beyond this glen." "Yes," Evelyn agreed, her voice filled with warmth. "We are the keepers of our stories, the guardians of our memories. Together, we can light the way for others who feel lost, just as we once were." With renewed purpose, they gathered around the fading embers, a sense of belonging wrapping around them like a warm blanket. They were no longer shadows of the forgotten, they were vibrant souls, ready to embrace the journey ahead, together. And as the last flames flickered and the stars shone brighter overhead, they knew that their stories would continue to unfold, lighting the way for those still seeking their paths. The first light of dawn began to stretch across the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. The fire pit, once a roaring beacon of stories and connection, now smoldered softly, its warmth lingering in the air as the group began to stir. Alex blinked against the sunlight, feeling a sense of renewal wash over him. The night had transformed not only their shadows, but also the very essence of their gathering. Evelyn was the first to rise, brushing dew from her hair and stretching her arms toward the waking sun. "Look," she exclaimed, pointing toward the edge of the glen. There's something shimmering over there. Following her gaze, Alex noticed a faint glimmer peeking through the dense trees at the far side of the clearing. It was unlike anything he had seen in Misty Brook before, a soft, ethereal light that seemed to beckon them closer. A mixture of curiosity and anticipation surged within him. "Should we go see what it is?" he asked, glancing at the others, who were beginning to shake off the remnants of sleep. "I think we should," the young artist said, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. "It might be another part of this journey, something waiting for us to discover." One by one, they gathered their belongings and followed the shimmering light, weaving their way through the underbrush. As they drew closer, the air became thicker with a sense of magic, and the path ahead seemed to pulse with energy. The trees parted, revealing a narrow trail that glimmered in the early morning light, almost as if it were dusted with stardust. "This feels different," Evelyn said, her voice a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Like it's guiding us somewhere we've never been." The path wound through the trees, leading them deeper into the heart of the forest. Birds chirped overhead, their melodies mingling with the rustling leaves, creating a harmonious backdrop for their adventure. Each step felt purposeful, the anticipation growing with each footfall. As they walked, Alex felt the weight of yesterday's stories still lingering within him, yet now they felt lighter, less burdensome. The shared moments around the fire had carved a new space in his heart, and he was eager to see where this hidden path would lead. After what felt like an eternity of walking, the path opened into a small clearing, and the light they had followed intensified, casting a golden glow around them. At the center of the clearing stood an ancient stone archway, covered in delicate vines and blooming flowers that seemed to radiate their own luminescence. It was breathtaking, a portal to another world, shimmering with the promise of discovery. "Wow," the elderly man whispered, awe etched on his face. "What is this place?" "I don't know, but it feels significant," Evelyn replied, stepping closer to the archway. "Like a threshold between what we've known and what we're about to find out." As they approached, the archway seemed to hum with energy, the light dancing across the stones like fireflies on a summer night. Alex reached out tentatively, running his fingers over the cool surface. He felt a vibration, as if the archway recognized their presence. "What do you think is on the other side?" the young artist asked, excitement bubbling in his voice. "Maybe it's a place where we can further confront our pasts, or perhaps even find what we've been searching for," Alex suggested, glancing back at the others. "We've shared so much already. What if there's more waiting for us?" The group exchanged glances, a mix of determination and fear dancing in their eyes. In that moment, Alex realized they were standing on the precipice of something transformative. This was a continuation of their journey, an opportunity to delve deeper into the hidden layers of their souls. "Let's do this together," Evelyn said, her voice steady and reassuring. "No matter what lies beyond, we have each other. We've come this far, and I believe we can face whatever is waiting for us." With a shared nod, they joined hands in a circle, their collective energy forming an unbreakable bond. Together, they took a step toward the archway, crossing its threshold into the unknown. As they passed through, the world around them shifted dramatically. The vibrant colors of the forest melted away, replaced by a landscape that shimmered with surreal beauty. Rolling hills glistened like emeralds, and the sky above was a brilliant canvas of swirling colors that defied description. They found themselves standing in a vast meadow, where flowers of every imaginable hue danced gently in the breeze. "Where are we?" Alex breathed, taking in the breathtaking scenery. "It feels like a dream," Evelyn replied, her voice tinged with wonder. "But it also feels real. Like we're meant to be here." As they ventured further into the meadow, they noticed pathways that branched off in different directions, each one inviting them to explore. In the distance, a tranquil river sparkled, its waters reflecting the vivid colors of the sky. The air was filled with the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers, and the distant sound of laughter echoed, a sound that felt both familiar and comforting. "What if each path represents a part of our journey?" the elderly man suggested, gazing at the options before them. "A chance to confront our fears, to reclaim our dreams." "Let's split up and explore," the young artist proposed. "We can each follow our instincts and see where our paths lead." "Be careful," Evelyn cautioned, a flicker of concern crossing her face. "Remember, we're not alone, and we can always come back together." With a renewed sense of purpose, they set off down their respective paths, excitement and trepidation mingling within each of them. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the meadow flow through him. He was ready to embrace whatever awaited him. As he wandered down a path lined with vibrant wildflowers, he felt the weight of his past begin to lift. Each step echoed with a sense of freedom, a reminder that he was no longer defined by his regrets. He was forging a new path, one filled with the promise of self-discovery and growth. In that moment, Alex understood that this hidden path was not just a physical journey, but a metaphorical one, a journey of the heart and soul. And with every step he took, he was reclaiming not just his own story, but the stories of everyone he had met along the way. As the sun continued to rise, casting its golden rays over the meadow, Alex felt a sense of belonging swell within him. He was part of something greater, a journey that transcended the shadows of his past. And as he ventured deeper into the unknown, he knew that whatever lay ahead would only serve to illuminate the path he was meant to take. As Alex wandered deeper into the meadow, the vibrant flowers brushed against his legs, their soft petals whispering secrets of the earth. The air was alive with a gentle hum, a symphony of nature that enveloped him in its embrace. With every step, he felt lighter, as if the burdens of his past were being shed like autumn leaves. He rounded a bend in the path and found himself standing before a majestic oak tree, its branches sprawling wide like a protective embrace. The tree was unlike any he had ever seen. Its bark was a deep, shimmering silver, and the leaves glinted like polished emeralds under the bright sun. This was no ordinary tree. It radiated a sense of wisdom and strength, as if it had stood guard over this magical meadow for centuries. As he approached, Alex noticed a series of intricate carvings etched into the trunk, depicting various symbols and scenes that seemed to tell a story of their own. Curiosity compelled him to reach out and touch the smooth bark, feeling a tingling sensation ripple through him as his fingers brushed against the carvings. "Hello there," a deep voice rumbled, breaking the serene atmosphere. Startled, Alex stepped back, glancing around to find the source of the voice. From behind the tree emerged a tall figure cloaked in a flowing robe that shimmered like moonlight. The figure had a gentle yet commanding presence, their face partially obscured by the hood. Only their kind eyes were visible, glimmering with a knowledge that transcended time. "I am the silent guardian of this meadow," the figure said, their voice soothing and resonant. "I have watched over this land and all who journey through it. You, Alex, have entered a sacred space." "Who are you?" Alex stammered, still taken aback by the sudden appearance of this enigmatic being. "I am a keeper of stories and memories," the guardian replied, stepping closer. "This meadow is a reflection of your heart's desires and the paths you seek. Each flower, each blade of grass, and every breeze carries the essence of those who have walked this way before you." "What do you mean?" Alex asked, his heart racing with a mix of intrigue and apprehension. "The journeys you embark on here will reveal your true selves," the guardian explained. "The struggles, the fears, and the dreams you carry within will surface, guiding you toward healing and understanding. But know this, not all paths are easy. Some truths are hidden beneath layers of fear and doubt, waiting to be uncovered." Alex nodded, absorbing the weight of the guardian's words. He thought of the stories shared around the fire, the burdens laid bare, and the promises of new beginnings. "I want to confront my past," he said resolutely. "I want to move forward." The guardian smiled gently. "Very well. If you seek the truth, you must first listen. Walk to the heart of the meadow, and there you will find the mirror of reflections. It will show you what you need to see, but be prepared. The truth can be both enlightening and daunting." With a nod of gratitude, Alex turned away from the guardian, feeling a new sense of purpose coursing through him. "Thank you," he called back, glancing over his shoulder. The guardian stood still, a silent sentinel, watching over him as he ventured further into the meadow. The path led him deeper into the radiant landscape, each step a reminder of the journey he was undertaking. The flowers swayed gently in the breeze, their colors vibrant and alive, as if encouraging him onward. He couldn't help but feel that this meadow was a living entity, responsive to his thoughts and emotions. As he walked, Alex found himself reflecting on the stories shared during the night, the pain of loss, the weight of regret, and the flickers of hope that had emerged. He felt a growing determination to confront the shadows that had lingered in his heart for too long. Eventually, he arrived at a small clearing where a large, circular mirror stood on a pedestal of intertwined branches and flowers. The mirror's surface shimmered like a calm lake, reflecting not just the landscape around it, but something deeper, an essence that resonated with his very soul. Here it is, he murmured to himself, stepping closer. The mirror of reflections beckoned him, its surface swirling with colors that seemed to dance and shift with his emotions. Taking a deep breath, Alex peered into the mirror, willing himself to confront whatever awaited him within its depths. At first, he saw only the idyllic meadow reflected back at him, the sun-kissed flowers, the azure sky, and the trees swaying gently in the breeze. But then, the image began to transform. The vibrant colors faded, replaced by shadows that loomed in the periphery. Familiar faces flickered across the surface, friends and family he had lost, moments of laughter intertwined with sorrow. He watched, mesmerized, as scenes from his life unfolded, joyous memories of adventures shared, punctuated by the pang of loss that echoed in his heart. Suddenly, the mirror shifted again, revealing moments of regret. Times when he had hesitated to speak up, opportunities missed because of fear, and dreams abandoned in the face of doubt. The weight of those memories pressed down on him, and he felt a wave of emotion rise within. "Why did I let it go?" he whispered, tears stinging his eyes. "Why did I allow fear to control me?" In that moment of vulnerability, the mirror responded, the reflections swirling like a storm. Alex was drawn into the depths of his memories, feeling the pain of loss, but also the strength of resilience that had carried him through. "Embrace it all," a voice echoed from the depths of the mirror, familiar yet distant. The joy and the sorrow, the love and the regret, they are all part of who you are. You cannot move forward without acknowledging where you've been. The swirling colors began to settle, and Alex saw himself standing on the edge of a cliff, overlooking a vast ocean. Waves crashed against the rocks below, a powerful force of nature that resonated with his heart. He realized that this was a representation of his journey, a journey of highs and lows, of fighting against the tide of fear to find his true self. "I can't keep running from this," he murmured, determination filling his heart. "I need to embrace my past to move forward." With that realization, the mirror shimmered, reflecting the resolve that had blossomed within him. He understood now that each choice, each moment of doubt, had shaped him into the person he was meant to become. It was time to reclaim his dreams and let go of the shadows that had haunted him. As the mirror's surface calmed, Alex stepped back, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. He had faced his past, acknowledged his pain, and found a path toward healing. He felt lighter, the weight of regret beginning to lift. "Thank you," he whispered to the mirror, to the silent guardian, to the journey he was undertaking. With newfound clarity, he turned away, ready to share his revelations with the others. As he retraced his steps through the meadow, the vibrant colors and sweet fragrances surrounded him like a warm embrace. He was no longer just a traveler seeking answers. He was a seeker of truth, ready to reclaim his story and share it with the world. In the distance, he could see the silhouettes of his companions, each following their own paths, each embarking on their own journeys of self-discovery. Together, they would continue to weave their stories, and together they would find their way back to the light. With a heart full of hope, Alex stepped forward, eager to reunite with the silent guardian and the others, ready to embrace the next chapter of their adventure. As Alex made his way back through the meadow, a sense of purpose surged within him. The revelations he had faced at the Mirror of Reflections had illuminated the shadows of his past, and he felt ready to share this newfound clarity with his companions. The vibrant flowers seemed to cheer him on, their colors brightening as he stepped through the warm sunlight filtering down from the sky. He soon reached the clearing where they had gathered, the gentle hum of the meadow enveloping him like a familiar melody. Evelyn was the first to notice him, her eyes sparkling with curiosity and concern. "How was your journey?" she asked, her voice filled with warmth. "Did you find what you were looking for?" "I did," Alex replied, a smile breaking across his face. "It was intense. I faced my past, but it's helped me understand what I need to do moving forward." Before he could elaborate, the elderly man approached, a look of contemplation on his face. "I think we all have stories to share. I felt something shift within me while exploring these paths," he said, gesturing to the vibrant meadow around them. "It's as if the very essence of this place is encouraging us to confront what lies deep within our hearts." The young artist nodded in agreement. "I wandered along a path lined with the most beautiful flowers, but then I found myself surrounded by shadows that whispered fears I thought I had overcome. It felt like they were holding me back, but then I remembered the stories we shared last night. I had the strength to push through." As each of them began to share their experiences, Alex felt a profound connection blossoming among them. They were no longer just companions in a strange meadow, they were kindred spirits, bound together by their shared struggles and triumphs. Suddenly, a sweet, melodious song floated through the air, causing the group to pause mid-conversation. The sound was enchanting, the notes weaving in and out like a delicate thread, wrapping around them in an ethereal embrace. "Do you hear that?" Evelyn asked, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's beautiful." The song seemed to beckon them, leading their hearts toward the source of its magic. They followed the sound, weaving through the flowers and deeper into the meadow, until they reached a small grove shaded by tall willows. At the center of the grove stood a solitary nightingale perched on a branch, its chest puffed out proudly as it sang its enchanting melody. "It's breathtaking," the elderly man whispered, captivated by the bird's performance. The nightingale continued to sing, its voice a blend of joy and sorrow, evoking feelings that resonated deeply within Alex. He felt as if the bird were not just singing for them, but rather sharing the very essence of its soul. The song echoed the themes of their journeys, the highs, the lows, the struggles, and the triumphs that each of them had faced. "What do you think it means?" the young artist asked, a note of reverence in his voice. "I believe it's a reflection of our own experiences," Alex replied, his heart swelling with emotion. "The nightingale's song captures the beauty of our pain and the joy of our healing. It's a reminder that every note, every moment, contributes to the symphony of our lives." As the last notes of the song hung in the air, The nightingale fluffed its feathers and looked directly at them, as if acknowledging their presence. In that moment, Alex felt an overwhelming sense of connection, not just to his companions, but to the world around him. The nightingale's song resonated with the stories they carried, and he realized that they were all part of a larger narrative. "Let's honor this moment," Evelyn suggested, her voice soft but steady. "We've shared our journeys, and this song is a testament to our growth. Let's create our own melody together." "Together?" Alex echoed, feeling the energy shift around them. "Yes," she replied, her excitement infectious. "Let's find a way to express what we've learned. Each of us can share a few lines, a sentence, a thought, or even a feeling that represents our journey." The elderly man nodded. "I can start. My journey has taught me that every story has its shadows, but it is the light that makes us who we are." The young artist followed suit, and I've realized that creativity is born from both joy and pain. It's in the shadows that we find our truest inspiration. When it was Alex's turn, he felt a surge of emotion. "I've learned that the past doesn't define me, but rather it has shaped the person I am today. I am ready to embrace every part of my journey, to sing my own song." Evelyn smiled, her eyes shimmering with understanding. "And I have discovered that vulnerability is strength. Sharing our stories connects us in ways we never expected." With each line they shared, the atmosphere in the grove shifted. It was as if the very air around them vibrated with the energy of their truths. The nightingale perched above them listened, and as they spoke, its song shifted to match the cadence of their words, a harmonious blend of voices intertwined with the bird's enchanting melody. In that sacred space, they wove a tapestry of stories, a symphony of their hearts. Each note resonated deeply within them, a reminder of the power of connection, vulnerability, and shared experiences. As the last echoes of their collective melody faded, a sense of peace washed over the group. They stood in silence, feeling the weight of their journey lift and transform into something beautiful. The nightingale took to the sky, soaring high above them, a symbol of hope and freedom. In that moment, they understood that they were not just travelers in a magical meadow, but seekers of truth and connection. With a newfound sense of purpose, they turned to face the path ahead, ready to continue their adventure together. The nightingale's song echoed in their hearts, a reminder that their journeys were intertwined, and together they could create something extraordinary. As they walked forward, the meadow sparkled with promise, guiding them toward the next chapter of their story. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue across the meadow as Alex, Evelyn, the elderly man, and the young artist walked hand in hand toward the heart of the garden. Their spirits were buoyed by the nightingale's song, and the sense of unity among them felt palpable. Each step they took resonated with the collective promise of a shared future, one forged through vulnerability and understanding. As they approached a clearing surrounded by vibrant flowers and lush greenery, they came upon a circular stone bench, perfectly nestled amidst a riot of colors. The bench was inviting, beckoning them to sit and bask in the beauty of the moment. They gathered around it, feeling a sense of sanctuary in this peaceful enclave. "This place feels special," Evelyn remarked, taking a seat on the bench. "It's almost as if it's calling us to make a promise, to honor our journeys and the connections we've formed." Alex nodded in agreement. "I feel that too. It's a perfect place to solidify our bond and what we've learned." "A pact, perhaps?" "A pact?" the young artist asked, a hint of excitement in his voice. "What kind of pact?" "The kind that symbolizes our commitment to each other and to our personal growth," Alex proposed, his heart racing at the thought. "We can vow to support one another, to share our stories, and encourage each other as we continue our journeys." The elderly man smiled, his wise eyes twinkling with approval. "I believe that such a pact can be a guiding light as we navigate our paths. It will serve as a reminder of our strength when we face our shadows." Evelyn looked around at her companions, her expression thoughtful. "And we can each add our own element to this pact, something that resonates with our unique journeys." "I love that idea," Alex said, feeling a surge of inspiration. "Let's do it." They each took turns to express what they wanted to contribute to the pact. The sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the garden, and the air was filled with the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers. "I promise to always share my truth," Evelyn began, her voice steady. "I want to cultivate a space where we can all be vulnerable and authentic, just as we've done here. I vow to inspire creativity in myself and others," the young artist followed, his passion shining through. "I want to remind us all that art and expression can emerge from our struggles, transforming pain into beauty." The elderly man spoke next, his voice deep and soothing. "I pledge to be a source of wisdom and guidance, to share the lessons I've learned in my own life. Together, we can remind each other of our strengths, especially during difficult times." Finally, it was Alex's turn. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his words. "I promise to embrace every part of my journey, the joy and the sorrow, the fear and the courage. I will honor my past and look toward the future with hope, and I will stand by each of you as we grow together." As they made their pledges, the energy in the garden shifted, the air shimmering with an almost palpable force. It was as if the garden itself was accepting their vows, wrapping them in its protective embrace. Evelyn reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, woven bracelet made of colorful threads. "Let's create something tangible to symbolize our pact," she suggested. "We can weave our words into this bracelet, each thread representing our promises." With excitement, they began to weave their words into the bracelet, intertwining the colors to create a beautiful tapestry. The sunlight began to fade, but the garden was still alive with color, the flowers glowing softly in the dusk. As they worked together, laughter and joy filled the air, their hands moving in harmony. Each time a new thread was added, they felt a surge of connection, a bond growing stronger with every twist and knot. Once they finished, they held the bracelet up, admiring their handiwork. It was a vibrant blend of colors, each one symbolizing their shared commitment and the journey they would embark on together. This bracelet will be a reminder of our pact, a symbol of our connection, Alex declared, his heart swelling with pride. Whenever we feel lost or uncertain, we can look at this and remember the strength we have in each other. Let's wear it as a sign of our bond, Evelyn suggested, tying the bracelet around her wrist and offering it to the others. One by one, they tied the bracelet onto their own wrists, each knot binding them in solidarity. As twilight descended, a cool breeze swept through the garden, rustling the leaves and carrying with it the sweet scent of blooming night flowers. The air shimmered with magic, and they felt as if the entire meadow was celebrating their pact. Suddenly, the nightingale returned, perched high on a branch, and began to sing again. Its melody was softer now, a lullaby that wrapped around them like a warm blanket. The song carried the essence of their promises, resonating with the energy of the garden. In that tranquil moment, they sat together, basking in the glow of their newfound connection. They were no longer just travelers seeking answers. They were a family forged through shared experiences, laughter, and love. As the stars began to twinkle above them, Alex knew that they had embarked on something beautiful. The pact they had made in the garden would serve as a guiding light, illuminating their paths as they ventured into the unknown. With the song of the nightingale echoing in their hearts and the warmth of the garden surrounding them, they understood that their journey was just beginning, a journey that would lead them to new heights, new challenges, and a deeper understanding of themselves and each other. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead, hand in hand, hearts united by the pact they had created in the garden. The morning sun broke through the remnants of night, casting a warm golden glow over Misty Brook. The garden, with its vibrant colors, seemed to awaken with the first light, and the air buzzed with the gentle sounds of nature. As Alex, Evelyn, the elderly man, and the young artist prepared to embark on their next adventure, they felt an unspoken excitement linger in the air, a promise of discovery that awaited them. "Where to next?" the young artist asked, adjusting his backpack. "I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this magical place." Evelyn glanced at the map they had found in the cottage and pointed to a shimmering blue dot nestled within the lush greenery. "How about the lake?" "It's just a short walk from here, and I've heard that the reflections on the water are breathtaking, especially in the morning light." The others nodded in agreement, their curiosity piqued. They set off down a winding path, the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves accompanying their footsteps. As they walked, they shared stories and laughter, their bond deepening with every shared experience. After a brisk walk, they emerged from the trees and were greeted by a stunning sight. The lake lay before them, its surface a mirror of tranquility. The water was crystal clear, reflecting the surrounding trees and the azure sky, creating a breathtaking tapestry of nature. "Wow," Evelyn breathed, taking in the beauty of the scene. "It's even more stunning than I imagined." As they approached the water's edge, the elderly man closed his eyes, inhaling deeply. "There's something incredibly calming about being near water. It's as if the lake holds the wisdom of the world, a silent observer of all that has come before. Alex felt a pull toward the water. "Let's sit by the edge and reflect," he suggested. "We can think about the pact we made and what it means for each of us moving forward." They settled on the soft grass at the edge of the lake, their legs stretched out and their backs against the warm earth. The sounds of the water lapping against the shore created a soothing rhythm, inviting introspection. "I've been thinking a lot about what my commitment means," Evelyn began, breaking the comfortable silence. "To be authentic and vulnerable. It's challenging. I often worry about how my truth will be received by others. But I want to embrace that fear. I want to be brave." The young artist nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I get that. For me, the promise to inspire creativity feels daunting. Sometimes, I fear I won't be good enough to encourage others. But I realize that it's not about perfection. It's about sharing the process, the struggle, and the joy." The elderly man smiled, his voice steady as he reflected. "My commitment to share wisdom stems from my own life experiences. I've learned that even the most challenging moments can bring about profound lessons. It's my hope that I can help others see their own paths more clearly." Alex listened intently, feeling a sense of kinship with his friends. "For me, embracing my journey means acknowledging my past without letting it define me. I want to carry my experiences as lessons and use them to guide my future." As they shared their reflections, the sunlight shimmered on the lake's surface, creating a dance of light that mirrored their thoughts and emotions. Each ripple in the water seemed to echo their words, reinforcing the weight of their commitments. "Let's take a moment to appreciate how far we've come," Alex suggested, standing up and walking closer to the water. "We've faced our fears, shared our stories, and formed a bond that feels unbreakable." The group joined him at the water's edge, and they gazed into the lake. The reflection stared back at them, a surreal mirror of who they were and who they were becoming. They saw not just their faces, but the spirit of their shared journey, the laughter, the tears, the courage, and the vulnerability that had brought them together. As they stood in silence, the wind began to pick up, sending gentle ripples across the lake. The once still surface transformed into a tapestry of movement, reflecting the ever-changing nature of their lives. Just as the water adapted, so too would they, embracing the waves and the calm alike. "Let's make a collective vow by the lake," Evelyn proposed, her voice steady. "Let's pledge to honor our reflections, to be true to ourselves, and to support each other in our growth." They formed a circle, joining hands, the cool breeze brushing against their skin as they closed their eyes. "I vow to honor my truth," Evelyn began, her voice strong yet gentle. "To be open and authentic, to inspire others to do the same. I vow to embrace creativity and the beauty of imperfection," the young artist added, his heart swelling with determination. "To encourage those around me to explore their own artistic journeys." The elderly man followed suit, his voice filled with warmth. "I vow to share the wisdom I've gained throughout my life, to guide and uplift others as they navigate their own paths. Finally, Alex spoke, feeling the weight of his words. I vow to embrace my journey fully, to acknowledge the past while looking forward with hope. I will stand by each of you as we grow and discover who we are meant to be. As they completed their vows, a feeling of unity enveloped them, and the lake responded with a gentle ripple, as if acknowledging their commitments. The reflections danced on the surface, creating an ethereal display that felt like a promise in itself, a symbol of their shared journey and the beauty that lay ahead. Feeling revitalized by the moment, they released each other's hands, gazing once more at the lake. Let's take a moment to enjoy this beauty, the young artist suggested, reaching into his backpack and pulling out his sketchbook. I want to capture this moment, the reflections, the light, the bond we've formed. As he began to sketch, the others joined him, finding their own ways to express their appreciation for the lake and the pact they had made. Evelyn picked wildflowers, weaving them into a small crown, while the elderly man sat peacefully, reflecting on his own journey. Alex took a seat beside the young artist, sharing in the creation of art that celebrated their connection. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, illuminating the world around them, they knew this moment would be etched in their hearts forever. The lake had become a sanctuary, a place where they could reflect on their pasts and look toward the future, united by their vows and the shared journey that lay ahead. In the depths of the lake, the reflections shimmered, a constant reminder of their promise to honor their truths, support one another, and embrace the beauty of their evolving selves. And as they enjoyed the tranquility of the lake, they knew that whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them together, hand in hand, hearts intertwined. The sun hung high above Misty Brook, casting dappled light through the leaves as Alex, Evelyn, the elderly man, and the young artist continued their journey. After their reflective moments by the lake, they were filled with renewed energy and a sense of purpose. The pact they had formed and the beauty they had witnessed had strengthened their bonds, and they felt ready to face whatever mysteries awaited them in this enchanting place. Where to next? Alex asked, looking around at his friends. What do you think we should explore now? Evelyn's eyes lit up with excitement. I overheard some locals talking about an old cottage that was rumored to hold secrets, like an ancient key hidden away. They say it's located in a grove near the edge of the forest. I think we should check it out. That sounds intriguing, the young artist replied, brushing his sketchbook aside. A hidden key could unlock more than just a door. It might lead us to new adventures. The elderly man nodded thoughtfully. Keys often symbolize access to knowledge or hidden truths. If this cottage holds a key, it could very well reveal something significant for us all. With a shared sense of adventure, they set off toward the grove, the path winding through the trees and blooming wildflowers. As they walked, they discussed what they might find and the possibilities that lay ahead. After a short trek, they arrived at the clearing where the old cottage stood. The building was quaint, with ivy climbing its weathered walls, and a thatched roof that seemed to have been untouched by time. The air was thick with the scent of moss and damp earth, giving the place an air of mystery. "Let's take a closer look," Alex suggested, stepping forward with eager anticipation. The group approached the door, which hung slightly ajar, creaking softly as the wind brushed against it. Evelyn glanced at the others, her heart racing with excitement and a hint of apprehension. "Should we go in?" "Absolutely," the young artist replied. "This place is full of stories waiting to be uncovered." With that, they pushed the door open, and it swung wide, revealing a dimly lit interior filled with dust motes dancing in the golden light that filtered through the cracks in the walls. Shelves lined with forgotten books and trinkets filled the small room, each one whispering tales of the past. As they stepped inside, a chill ran down Alex's spine. He felt an overwhelming sense of history, as if the walls were steeped in the secrets of those who had come before them. "Look at all this," he exclaimed, gesturing toward the dusty tomes and scattered artifacts. "There's so much to explore." "Let's split up and search for the key," Evelyn suggested, her eyes sparkling with determination. "It might be hidden among these old treasures." The group agreed, each taking a section of the cottage to examine. The elderly man moved slowly, his fingers brushing over the spines of the books, as if hoping to feel the heartbeat of the stories within. The young artist examined a small table cluttered with odd trinkets, while Alex and Evelyn explored a small cupboard filled with various knickknacks. As Alex rummaged through the drawer, he stumbled upon a small, ornate box. Its intricate carvings caught his eye, and he gently lifted it out. "Hey, I found something," he called out to the others. Evelyn rushed over, her curiosity piqued. "What is it?" "I'm not sure," Alex replied, carefully opening the box. Inside, they found a collection of delicate keys, each one unique and beautifully crafted, shimmering in the dim light. "Wow! Look at these! Could one of these be the key we're looking for?" the young artist asked, leaning in for a closer look. The elderly man approached, his eyes narrowing as he examined the keys. "These are fascinating. Each one has its own character, as if it's meant for something special." Evelyn gently lifted one of the keys, its surface cool against her skin. "This one looks different," she noted, holding it up for everyone to see. "It has an inscription on it." "What does it say?" Alex asked, leaning in. "It reads, 'To the door of memories.'" Evelyn's voice dropped to a whisper, as if the key held a secret meant only for them. "That's intriguing," the elderly man said, a glimmer of excitement in his eyes. "Memories are powerful, they shape who we are. Perhaps this key opens more than just a door. Maybe it leads us to an experience that will help us understand our own journeys." The young artist suggested, "Let's see if it fits any of the doors or locks around here." They carefully searched the cottage, examining each door, cupboard, and chest, but nothing seemed to match the key. Just as their excitement began to wane, Evelyn's gaze fell upon an old, dust-covered trunk tucked away in the corner. "What about that trunk?" she pointed out. It looks promising. The group gathered around the trunk, its weathered surface and rusted latch hinting at years of neglect. They could feel the energy surrounding it, as if it had been waiting for them to discover its secrets. Evelyn inserted the key into the lock, her heart pounding with anticipation. The key turned with a satisfying click, and she slowly lifted the lid. Inside, they found a collection of letters, photographs, and various mementos, all carefully preserved. Each item seemed to hold a story, a fragment of someone's life. The atmosphere in the room shifted, and they felt a profound connection to the past, as if the spirits of those who had once inhabited the cottage were present with them. "Look at this," the young artist exclaimed, holding up a faded photograph. "It's a picture of a family. They look so happy." Evelyn sifted through the letters, her fingers trembling as she read snippets aloud. "This one talks about dreams and hopes, about finding love and cherishing memories. It's beautiful." As they delved deeper into the trunk's contents, they discovered stories of laughter and loss, joy and sorrow. Each letter revealed the emotions and experiences of those who had come before them, weaving a rich tapestry of life that resonated with their own journeys. "This is incredible," Alex said, feeling a wave of gratitude wash over him. "We've stumbled upon a treasure trove of memories that reflect our own struggles and triumphs." The elderly man nodded thoughtfully. "These items remind us that we're not alone in our journeys. Others have walked similar paths, faced challenges, and found ways to grow. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit." As they continued to explore the trunk, they found a beautifully crafted journal, its pages filled with handwritten entries. Evelyn opened it carefully, her eyes scanning the elegant script. "It looks like someone documented their life, dreams, fears, and reflections," she said, her voice filled with reverence. "This could hold valuable lessons for us." "Let's read a few entries," the young artist suggested, leaning in closer. As they read aloud, the words resonated with their own experiences, echoing the promises they had made to each other. They felt a profound connection to the author of the journal, recognizing the shared struggles and victories that spanned across generations. Time slipped away as they lost themselves in the stories contained within the trunk. The cottage, once shrouded in mystery, now felt alive with the spirits of those who had poured their hearts into the letters and memories. Eventually, they began to feel a sense of closure as they prepared to leave. They gently repacked the trunk, ensuring that everything was returned to its rightful place, honoring the stories that had been shared with them. "I'll never forget this," Evelyn said softly, her heart full. "This cottage has reminded us that memories are the threads that connect us all." As they stepped back outside, the sunlight bathed them in warmth, and the world felt vibrant and alive. The key had unlocked not just a trunk, but a deeper understanding of themselves and the bonds they shared. "Where to next?" Alex asked, a grin spreading across his face. Evelyn glanced at the others, her heart brimming with gratitude. "Wherever we go, I know we'll carry these memories with us. They'll guide us on our journey." With newfound excitement, they set off once more, the lost key now a part of their story, an emblem of their shared experiences and the profound connections they had forged along the way. Together, they would continue to explore the wonders of Misty Brook, their hearts open to the adventures that lay ahead. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across Misty Brook, Alex, Evelyn, the elderly man, and the young artist made their way back from the old cottage. The memories they had unearthed felt like a gentle reminder of the connections that spanned beyond time and space. Their spirits were lifted, and they felt a renewed sense of purpose as they returned to the garden, a place that had already woven itself into the fabric of their journey. "Where should we go now?" the young artist asked, glancing around at the sprawling greenery. "I feel like there's still so much we haven't discovered in this garden." "I've always wondered what lies at the heart of the garden," Evelyn mused, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "There has to be something special there, a centerpiece that holds the essence of this place." "Let's find it," Alex replied, his excitement palpable. "We've uncovered secrets before. I believe we can find the heart of this garden together." With a sense of adventure igniting their steps, they began to wander deeper into the garden. As they ventured further, the pathways became narrower, lined with vibrant flowers in full bloom. The air was fragrant with the sweet scent of jasmine and honeysuckle, creating an atmosphere that felt almost magical. Evelyn led the way, her intuition guiding her through the labyrinth of plants. "It feels like the garden is alive," she remarked, running her fingers along the petals of a brilliant red rose. "As if it knows we're searching for something." "I wouldn't be surprised if it does," the elderly man replied, his voice filled with wonder. "Gardens often have a wisdom of their own. They reflect our thoughts and emotions, mirroring our journeys in ways we might not even understand." After a short while, they stumbled upon a secluded area of the garden, surrounded by towering trees that formed a natural barrier. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient stone fountain, its surface covered in soft moss and delicate ferns. The water trickled gently, creating a soft melody that echoed through the quiet space. "This must be it," Evelyn whispered, stepping closer to the fountain. "The heart of the garden." Alex and the young artist joined her, awed by the serene beauty of the scene. Sunlight danced on the water's surface, casting shimmering reflections that seemed to illuminate the space with a warm glow. "Look at the carvings," the young artist said, kneeling beside the fountain to inspect the intricate designs etched into the stone. "They're beautiful, almost like they tell a story." Evelyn leaned in, brushing her fingers over the cool stone. "These designs depict different elements of nature, flowers, trees, animals. It's as if the fountain celebrates the interconnectedness of life." The elderly man observed the fountain, his eyes glinting with knowledge. "Water is often seen as a symbol of renewal and reflection. This fountain might represent the essence of the garden itself, a place where life flows freely and memories are made." "Let's make a wish," Alex suggested, his voice filled with hope. We can toss a coin into the fountain and express our intentions for what we want to cultivate in our lives moving forward. The others nodded in agreement, their faces alight with enthusiasm. They each took a moment to consider their wishes before retrieving coins from their pockets. One by one, they stepped forward, closed their eyes, and tossed their coins into the fountain, their silent wishes mingling with the gentle splashes of water. As the last coin fell, a sudden breeze stirred the leaves above, rustling softly as if the garden itself were responding to their intentions. They stood in silence for a moment, allowing the tranquility of the space to wash over them. "I feel lighter," the young artist said, a smile spreading across his face. "It's like sharing our wishes with the garden has released some of the weight we've been carrying." "Exactly," Evelyn agreed, her eyes shimmering with excitement. "We've not only expressed our desires, but also opened ourselves up to what the garden can offer us in return." Suddenly, a glimmer caught Alex's eye at the base of the fountain. He leaned down to investigate and found a small, intricately designed keyhole hidden among the mossy stones. "Hey, look at this," he called out, excitement bubbling in his voice. Evelyn and the others rushed over, their curiosity piqued. "What is it?" she asked, kneeling beside Alex to get a better look. "There's a keyhole here," Alex explained, tracing his fingers around the edges. "It seems to be connected to the fountain somehow. Could it be that the lost key we found is meant for this?" the young artist speculated, his eyes wide with wonder. "I think it might be," the elderly man said, his voice filled with anticipation. "Perhaps unlocking this keyhole will reveal a hidden aspect of the garden, a secret that has been waiting for us to discover." Evelyn glanced at Alex, her heart racing with excitement. "Do you still have the key?" "Of course," he replied, pulling it from his pocket. The ornate key felt heavy in his palm, imbued with the energy of their adventure. With bated breath, they gathered around the fountain as Alex carefully inserted the key into the keyhole. It fit perfectly, and he turned it gently. A soft click echoed in the air, and the fountain began to shimmer with a radiant light. The water surged higher, forming a beautiful arc that glistened like diamonds in the sunlight. Suddenly, the fountain transformed, the water cascading down in rhythmic patterns, revealing hidden engravings along the stone, depicting scenes of growth, love, and connection. "Wow," the young artist breathed, captivated by the unfolding spectacle. "It's like the fountain is coming to life." The elderly man stepped closer, marveling at the stories portrayed in the newly revealed engravings. "This is a testament to the heart of the garden, the very essence of what it represents. It's a place of transformation, where life and memories intertwine." Evelyn reached out to touch the water, and as her fingers grazed the surface, a soft glow emanated from the fountain, surrounding her in warmth. "It feels magical," she whispered, her heart full of wonder. In that moment, they understood the heart of the garden was not just a physical place, but a representation of the bonds they had formed and the journeys they had embarked upon together. It symbolized their shared experiences, the challenges they had faced, and the beauty of their connection. As the fountain continued to shine, they took a moment to reflect on their individual journeys, the growth they had experienced, the love they had found, and the memories they had created. It was a reminder that they were not alone. They were part of something greater, united by their shared commitment to one another. "We should come back here often," Alex suggested, a smile lighting up his face. "This place is special. It reminds us of who we are and where we're going." The others nodded in agreement, their hearts swelling with gratitude for the adventure they had shared and the magic they had discovered in the garden. As they stood together, watching the fountain's dazzling display, they knew that the heart of the garden would forever hold a piece of their story, a place they could return to, not only for reflection but for inspiration as they continued their journey through life. With a sense of fulfillment, they turned away from the fountain, ready to explore the other wonders of the garden. Hand in hand, they stepped back into the world of color and light, their hearts intertwined, prepared to face whatever lay ahead in their shared adventure. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, Alex, Evelyn, the elderly man, and the young artist found themselves standing at the edge of the garden. The magical transformation of the fountain had left them feeling invigorated, yet a profound sense of contemplation hung in the air. They were on the cusp of their most significant decision yet. "After everything we've experienced, it feels like we're nearing the end of our journey," Evelyn said, her voice soft but resonant. "Yet, there's so much more we could discover. I can't shake the feeling that this garden has even deeper secrets to unveil." "I agree," the young artist replied, his eyes reflecting the fading sunlight. "But perhaps the true journey lies in the choices we make now. We've uncovered so much about ourselves, but it's time to decide what we want to carry forward." The elderly man nodded thoughtfully, his brow furrowed in contemplation. "We've encountered various symbols throughout our adventures, keys, letters, memories. Each one represents choices we've made and the paths we've taken. But this moment feels different. It's as if the garden is inviting us to define our future." Alex took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their journey resting upon him. "So, what do we choose?" he asked, his gaze scanning the lush surroundings. "Do we continue to explore the garden, or do we take what we've learned and venture into the unknown?" A gentle breeze rustled the leaves overhead, as if the garden itself was encouraging them to reflect. Each of them took a moment to consider their feelings, their hearts echoing with the significance of the decision before them. "I think we've learned that it's essential to honor our experiences, but it's equally important to step beyond the familiar," Evelyn said finally, her voice filled with resolve. "This garden has given us so much, wisdom, friendship, and memories. But I feel the call of the outside world, urging us to share what we've learned and to create new stories." The young artist stepped forward, his eyes bright with inspiration. "I've always believed that art is meant to connect with others. I want to take the beauty of this garden and our shared experiences and express them through my work. But to do that, I need to step out and explore new landscapes, new emotions." The elderly man smiled, a twinkle of pride in his eyes. And I believe we all have something to share. Each of us carries a unique perspective that can inspire others. If we remain here, we may lose the opportunity to weave our stories into the fabric of the world beyond. As they pondered their thoughts, Alex felt a sense of clarity washing over him. It seems we all share a desire to carry the spirit of the garden with us, but in order to do that, we must choose to step beyond its borders. We can't forget the lessons we've learned here, but we must also embrace what lies ahead. Exactly, Evelyn affirmed, a smile breaking across her face. Let's choose to honor the heart of the garden by bringing its magic into the world. We can take the stories and memories we've gathered and share them with those we meet. The young artist nodded enthusiastically. And in doing so, we can inspire others to seek their own journeys, to explore their hearts, and to connect with the beauty around them. The decision solidified among them, and the air filled with an electrifying energy as they realized they were ready to embrace the next chapter of their lives. They had come to the garden seeking answers, and now they understood that the real question was not what they would leave behind, but what they would carry forward. I think we should make a pact, Alex suggested, his voice steady and determined. A promise to each other that we will stay connected, no matter where our journeys take us. We'll share our stories and support each other, no matter the distance. Evelyn's eyes shone with appreciation. I love that idea. Let's celebrate our bond and the choices we've made together. The elderly man smiled warmly, his heart swelling with joy. A pact of friendship and unity. This is a beautiful choice, indeed. The young artist reached into his bag and pulled out a small notebook filled with sketches and notes from their time in the garden. Let's each write a letter to our future selves, he suggested. We can remind ourselves of the choices we've made and the commitments we've shared. When we read them later, we'll be inspired to continue pursuing our paths. Excitement filled the air as they gathered around, each taking turns to write their letters. Alex poured his heart onto the page, expressing his hopes for the future and the determination to stay true to the lessons learned. Evelyn wrote about the beauty of connection and the importance of nurturing relationships. The elderly man reflected on the wisdom they had shared, while the young artist infused his letter with artistic aspirations and a longing to capture the magic they had discovered. Once finished, they folded their letters and placed them into the small wooden box that had once held the lost key. This will be a treasure we can revisit, Alex said, sealing the box with a sense of reverence. A reminder of our journey and the choices we've made. As they stood together, the sun fully set behind the horizon, casting a blanket of stars across the night sky. The garden glowed softly in the moonlight, and the fountain continued to bubble gently, its magic undiminished. With their pact forged and their letters sealed, they turned away from the heart of the garden, feeling a mix of nostalgia and excitement. They walked hand in hand, united in their commitment to honor their experiences while embracing the unknown that awaited them beyond the garden's gates. The final choice had been made, not just to leave the garden behind, but to carry its essence with them, infusing their journeys with the memories, lessons, and connections that would forever bind them. Together, they would step into a world filled with endless possibilities, their hearts open and ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. As the first light of dawn broke over Misty Brook, the world awoke in a gentle embrace of golden hues. The garden, with its vibrant flora and tranquil atmosphere, shimmered in the early morning light, reflecting the promise of a new day. Alex, Evelyn, the elderly man, and the young artist stood at the edge of the garden, hearts full and spirits high, ready to embark on their new journey. The soft rustle of leaves and the melodic chirping of birds filled the air, creating a serene soundtrack for their departure. Each of them took a moment to soak in the beauty surrounding them, the garden's magic still palpable in the crisp morning air. "This place feels even more enchanting in the morning light," Evelyn remarked, her eyes glistening as she took in the dew-kissed petals of the flowers around them. "It's as if the garden is bidding us farewell, reminding us of the beauty we'll carry with us." "I can almost hear it whispering our names," the young artist said, a smile playing on his lips. "It feels like it's urging us to spread our wings and share our stories." Alex nodded, feeling a surge of gratitude for the experiences they had shared. "This garden has been a sanctuary for us, a place where we've discovered ourselves and forged bonds that will last a lifetime. It will always hold a special place in our hearts." The elderly man chuckled softly, his eyes twinkling with wisdom. "Indeed, it will. But remember, the essence of this garden is not confined to its borders. It lives within us, in the choices we make and the lives we touch. As you venture into the world, carry its spirit with you, and let it guide you." They stood in a circle, each of them holding the small wooden box containing their letters, their pact binding them together. With a sense of ceremony, they placed the box at the base of the fountain, leaving it as a testament to their journey and a promise for the future. "This is not goodbye," Alex said, a reassuring smile on his face. "It's merely the beginning of a new adventure. We'll return here one day, and when we do, we'll have so many stories to share." Evelyn's voice trembled slightly as she spoke. "And we'll remind each other of the courage it took to step into the unknown, to embrace new experiences, and to support one another no matter where we are." The young artist added, "Let's make it a tradition, a reunion in the garden to celebrate the paths we've taken and the growth we've achieved." As they made their way toward the garden's exit, the landscape around them seemed to shift and shimmer, as if the garden itself were blessing their departure. The winding path led them through bursts of color and life, and they felt an overwhelming sense of hope and possibility wash over them. Once they reached the entrance, they turned back for one last look. The garden stood resplendent in the morning light, its secrets and stories woven into the very air they breathed. It felt like a chapter closing, yet they knew that the book of their lives was far from finished. With a deep breath, Alex stepped forward, leading the way out into the world beyond. The others followed, hand in hand, hearts aligned with the rhythm of their collective journey. The path ahead was uncertain, but the experiences they had shared in the garden fortified their resolve. As they ventured into the unknown, they began to discuss their plans, each excitedly sharing their aspirations and dreams. The young artist spoke of gallery shows and collaborations, while Evelyn expressed her desire to volunteer and create community programs. Alex shared his ambitions to write stories that would inspire others, and the elderly man spoke of mentoring and sharing his wisdom with the next generation. With every step, they felt lighter, more in tune with their desires and purpose. The world opened up before them, vast and inviting, a canvas ready for their imprint. Just as they reached the end of the road, a flock of birds took flight from a nearby tree, soaring into the clear blue sky. They circled above, their wings spreading wide as if celebrating the dawn of a new chapter. The sight filled them with a sense of joy and freedom, a reminder that life was meant to be embraced with open hearts and minds. "Look at them," Evelyn said, pointing upwards. "They remind me of the stories we've shared, the connections we've made. We are like those birds, ready to soar." As they reached the point where the garden faded into the backdrop of their memories, they paused once more, feeling a deep connection to each other and to the journey that lay ahead. The first rays of sunlight kissed their faces, wrapping them in warmth and promise. "Together, we can accomplish anything," Alex declared, his voice filled with conviction. "Let's honor the spirit of the garden by embracing the world and the adventures it holds for us." And so, with the sun rising behind them, they stepped forward into the future, ready to weave their stories into the tapestry of life. The garden, a cherished chapter in their hearts, would always be a reminder of the bonds they had forged, the lessons they had learned, and the magic that lay within the choices they made. With laughter and lightness in their hearts, they embraced the dawn of a new day, knowing that their journey together was just beginning.